Hi, everybody. We're back. Hamsters have been fed and watered, and they're back on their wheels, spinning around. Welcome to the post-credit show, where we talk about games we've played, movies we've watched, and other sort of nerd junk we have done. I am Nick.
I'm Brian.
Let's get to it. I can go.
Okay.
You do have a nice list of stuff, though, which is good.
Yeah, I do. I
add
remember.
that to my list. I'm looking at your list.
I finally caught up on some nerd stuff.
Yes. Which is always good.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta add that. I'm looking at.
Stop cheating!
Ooh, oh. Cool.
I didn't know I had this one. And I was like, hey, this is installed. I should try this.
So I guess first thing I can talk about, my wife and I watched this last night. So from the creators of Riverdale come the chilling adventures of Sabrina.
Oh yes, I saw that.
We got through the first 2 episodes.
And?
I like it.
Okay. Recommended?
It is very different from Riverdale. Demons and magic and all of that stuff exist. Okay. It's not just like Sabrina's running around like, I'm a witch!
I'm a witch! I'm a cat that can talk!
And she's not. Like, she doesn't just run around like, I'm a witch! And not a witch. She's legit a witch. It's not the Melissa Joan Hart, like, I'm a witch who's gonna have fun, and my aunts are kind of, like, kooky.
Yeah.
The aunts are still kooky, but in a very different way. This Netflix show starts with it being Sabrina's almost 16th birthday that falls on Halloween with a blood moon eclipse going on, and she's supposed to take her rite of passage and become a full-fledged witch and go to a witch school and all this other stuff.
Not Hogwarts.
Not Hogwarts. It's an academy of some kind, and that's where witches go. Mm-hmm. But the show legit is like to become a witch and go through your, dark baptism. You have to sign the Book of the Beasts, which is Satan's book, and pledge yourself to Satan.
To Satan. Wow.
And he will give you a long life and magic powers and da-da-da. And it's like...
a lot darker than the TV show.
And I'm like, wowzers. All right. And this is based off the comic, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. They went darker with that.
Oh, okay.
That comic. So remember when Archie did that weird reboot?
Yes.
Where they like animated them a little bit more, and they weren't just like fun-loving anymore, but they went through that weird, still not Riverdale-esque dumb, but they switched them.
Yeah.
This one is legit the darker version of Sabrina. In the comics, they actually have Betty and Veronica from the Riverdale Coven. They're also witches.
Oh.
This one...
Same actresses as Riverdale?
No, like not the cartoon show. The comics.
Yeah. I
They've replaced those characters with different people.
Oh, okay.
They're obviously not Betty and Veronica. There was one line dropped where those 3 witches appear, and they're obviously from the academy.
Yeah.
Because they've been witches their whole lives. Yeah. Sabrina's obviously she's half human, half witch.
Yeah.
So they show up, and someone sees them, and they're like, well, did you go to, like, Greendale? Because that's where they're from. And it's like, are you guys from Riverdale? And you're like, nah, because that's the only crossover you're going to get.
Which is a good thing, I think.
Legitimately, like, there's a guy with a goat head and hooves, and, like...
Wow, it is
they Sataned it up. Like,
the demon goat.
Yeah. They brought him in. He is, like, the Dark Lord.
Wow.
And you're like, oh, snap.
What do you call those? Satyrs?
Sort of, but yeah, like that's the image you're getting. But
okay.
it is like if you look through certain books and that kind of thing, like the image of the devil can be that. Yeah. Like he's the beast. That's how he shows himself, and it's like, oh, they actually full-fledged like pulled that one off. Cool. There's a bunch of witches trying to get Sabrina in because apparently it is the will of, because she's going to be something special. Her dad was a big guy in the witch community.
Yeah.
Who married a mortal, which pissed a lot of people off, but there's something about Sabrina that's kind of the big shtick, that she's going to be like the chosen one of something.
Yeah.
So Satan wants her. So there's a whole community of like warlocks and witches working in the background trying to get her to become a witch.
That sounds intriguing.
And she's like, well, no, because I don't want to leave my friends.
Yeah.
So bite me. I'm going to be a witch on my own terms, yo.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where the second episode ends, is her going like, no to your, dark book of things. The show's also set in a weird time, like setting-wise.
Okay.
No one's pulled out a cell phone in Greendale. Like there's no one's pulled one out. The cars are ambiguously classic.
Okay.
Certain things are classic.
Yeah.
But they're also dealing with more, like, progressive type ideas. So, like, there's one of Sabrina's friends who is a female and who is also a lesbian.
Yeah.
And they're trying to start a group to, you know, help out women in their community to, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
And you're like, all right. But then her other friend, who is African American, because their principal's a giant douche.
Yeah.
And his, like, they try to start clubs, and he's like, no, like, you know, no. Because he thinks, like, the football players are great, and the women should just, you know, no.
No.
So the African American person tried to start, like, a Daughters of the Black Panther, you know, group sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that sets it back in the... But the way they're talking about things is... But then Sabrina lets off, like, oh, that's groovy, and you're like...
What year is it?
But then all of a sudden, like, one of the actors talks about, they're talking about comic books, and one of the guys talks about, like, Neil Gaiman, who is, like, a relatively newer author when it comes to stuff, and I'm like, so they've really made it ambiguous as to when things...
When it's happening.
Salem is a familiar.
So he's not just a talking cat.
He does not talk.
He does not talk.
She can understand him.
She can understand it.
But he can, like, when he talks, he just...
Oh.
But he's not a cat.
He's a familiar.
He's a something. You see, like, a glimpse of... And then all of a sudden, like, he disappears and a cat pops out, and you're like, all right, cool.
All right.
So he takes the shape of a cat to keep her safe.
Right. And he's, like, still, like, her guardian...
Sort of.
Or, like, companion.
So the... minor spoilers, there's a book you get to pick familiars out of, because they're ghouls, essentially, that... you know, are there to serve the witch. And Sabrina's like, well, no, I've been reading, and, like, if you ask nicely, some of them, like, spirits will come and, you know, partner with you. Mm-hmm. So, like, you have a symbiotic relationship with your familiar, instead of, like, you know, Dobby the house elf versus, you know, like, it's Dobby the house elf being free and helping Harry Potter versus being, like, stomped on by, you know, the Malfoys.
The Malfoys.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where she's like, well, no, I'm going to try this thing.
Yeah. So
she does. She ends up with this ghoul that is actually a cat, and all the other witches. Everybody has their own familiars, which is kind of neat.
Oh.
The ants are quite different from the show. There's still the stuck-up one versus the lighthearted one.
Yeah. But
again, they know they're near immortal and can do all sorts of stuff. So when, like, Hilda gets pissed off at Zelda or whatever, whichever one's the strict one gets pissed off the lighthearted one, she legitimately hits her over the head with a hammer and buries her in the yard. And it's like, snap. The CGI needs some work. It's clearly like there's some monsters that appear, and they do a really good job of, like, having the one monster, and it's clearly someone in a costume, which I'm totally fine with. I grew up with the Buffys and the Supernaturals, and when you have a humanoid monster, put someone in a costume. It works.
Yeah, it works.
And then if you need to CGI,
more eeriness to it.
Right, CGI the face if you need to, like, do that kind of stuff. But really, if you have something that's human-shaped, put it in a costume and have it. And they have this one person in a costume doing something for this one scene, and then it's chasing her, and they switch to CGI to have it have it do more of like a lumbering run. And I'm like, oh,
you got to pick one or the other and stick with it, or it's gonna just people notice it and they're just gonna be like this.
Like, they tried to make it more threatening because it could move faster.
Yeah.
But it's like there's camera ways of doing it. Like, I have seen Supernatural and Buffy do it enough where it's like, you could pull this off with a costume that you clearly already had because you used it last scene.
Yeah. Even the first Underworld, they did everything in costume.
Yeah.
And they managed to make a guy look like he was running faster.
Right. So this one, I get the effect they were going for with the way he was moving, but it's like, that kind of drew me out for a second. But then, like, the goat guy appears, and it's legit, like, there's a guy with, like, a goat and the hooves and the whole 9 yard, and you're like, cool. Sweet, like, good, practical, do that.
Yeah.
Do more of that.
Yeah.
So either way, we watched the first 2 episodes, and it's an intriguing show.
Okay. I'll definitely take a look at that.
Mm-hmm. It is a darker show, and it's definitely not, like, when they said they kind of did Riverdale to appease the CW.
Yeah.
This is definitely the opposite end of that, where, like, the CW's like, you did good on Riverdale, do whatever you want for Sabrina.
And they're like, thank you.
And they're like, alrighty.
All right.
And I'm sure there's someone at the CW who's like, so can we, like, can we do a crossover episode? Like, people like it when we do it on the superhero show. Can we do it? Because they're the same comic.
And they're like, no.
Yeah, and you can tell these guys right off the bat are like, no.
No.
We're going to have someone die through magic, and it's going to be awesome.
If there's a crossover, Archie's dying.
Correct. Someone is like, you're going to have to write into Riverdale how Betty and Veronica became witches.
Yeah.
And explain that to everybody.
Yeah.
She has a cousin that lives with her who is he's kind of under house arrest for something that's ambiguous, and they haven't told you quite what it is.
Human cousin?
Nope, he's a witch or a warlock. Necromancer, actually.
Necromancer.
Yeah. So they've thrown in the different kinds of magic.
I still have not tried Necromancer on Diablo.
Yeah, I bought that expansion. But yeah, so Sabrina's pretty good. Totally check that out, and it's the perfect time of year to check that out, being Halloween. We have finished all of the main maps on Mario Party.
Oh wow, nice.
There's only 4.
Yeah.
So we played.
Did you get gold on all of them?
No, the first one we did not, because Luigi beat us. So I know, but we did still. You still get the gem. So even if you just play the game, you get that weird gem thing, and they're like, "Congrats! Now you only have to play the other 4 modes or whatever to get the other 4 gems." And I'm like,
we'll hammer it out one day.
One day we'll figure it all out. But the last map, the 4th map, is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played it?
No, not
because I know it's on your thing.
Yes, I've only played like.
Because we played Super Mario
Yes.
Party. Yeah. We played all the modes.
Yes.
Rhythm modes and all of the boat.
The boat one was fun.
I like the boat one
because you have mini games in that too.
Yeah. Well, and the other one, the open map, was kind of interesting.
Yes.
It's a different play style.
Yes. A lot more strategic.
Very much so. You have to communicate and do all of that kind of stuff.
You go here, I'll go there.
Yeah. And that one's a tough one to do with, like, you have to have either 2 people or 4 people.
Yes.
Because either one person's getting stuck with a computer and you really feel bad, or you got to jack the AI up on that computer just to be nice.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 4th map is all about gold.
All about gold.
Gold. So it's a track, and when you get to the top, you go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And do it all over again, and the star stays right at the end.
Oh.
And the star is either worth 5 coins, 10 coins, or 15 coins, and you can buy 2 at a time.
Cool.
If you have 30
coins,
coins,
you get 2.
And it's 15 coins a thing, all your coins are gone, but you get 2 stars. There's a gumball machine right in front of it. If you land on the question mark, it changes the price of the star. Every time someone buys a star, it changes the price of a star randomly to the next thing.
Wow.
So
that's fun.
And it's very much one of those ones where the items come into play, so you want to get ahead of someone to get the cheap star, and hopefully it lands on something more expensive.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to slow that person down so that you can get there before them.
Yeah.
To get the cheaper star. Or you're doing whatever you can. Like I've used the block where you can choose what the number is.
Mm-hmm.
I've used that to make sure I don't get to the star before someone, so they have to spend the 15.
And then you can spend 5 or.
And then I'm either spending 5 or 10 because it's always a different number. So if it's sold for 5, you're not getting 5 again. You're getting 10 or 15.
Right. So if you had like 20 coins, you're like, I don't want 1 star. I want
2 stars because I know like at 15 I can only get 1. But I know any other price I can get 2. And the only reason I won that one is because I landed on there's a question mark block that takes you on like a slightly alternate path, and it's got a boo on it. So again, for 30 coins, you can steal a star, and the only reason I won is because I stole a star, so I won by
1 star.
That 1 star.
Ooh.
So it's
well
a pretty,
played.
yeah,
well
it's
played.
a pretty good, it's a pretty good map to play on.
Okay.
So that one's fun for Mario Party. The characters you can unlock, and I still haven't done it because you have to. I forgot how I looked online how to do it. But there's the female, like, baby Bowsette or whatever.
Oh.
Not, like, the one that's making her way around. No. But she's, like, red and something, like, she's... she's not really been in games. But, she's almost like the Wendy Koopa, but not Wendy.
Yeah.
And then Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are the other unlockables for Mario's side of things. And I'm like, really, why not have Donkey Kong unlocked off the bat?
He's always been a...
Because he was there. And then they made him his own space, which was, like, aggravating. Because they took him out of being a playable character. Yeah. And now you have to unlock him, and I'm like, how do I do this again? I forgot how you have to do it. I'll look it up again. So,
I love Donkey Kong.
Well, yeah, I know, and that's the thing is, like...
Make him so...
Why are you making...
He used to be always, like, Mario Kart and all these games. Just Donkey Kong. You can just play as Donkey Kong.
Yeah. It'll begin Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. The Deluxe Switch goes on sale soon.
Sweet.
But the game doesn't come out for another 2 months. So you can actually buy the bundle that has like the Super Smash Bros. Logos and all the emblem stuff on it, and the digital copy of the game that will sit on your Switch for 2 months that you cannot play for 2 months essentially. Like,
you anything special?
No, just the the controllers have the cross logo on them.
The art.
Yeah, and the Switch itself has the fighters on the dock.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's on the dock. So that I thought that was funny because someone posted it like, look what we got in at their EB Games or Target or whatever. Like, there's the boxes. Yeah. Everybody's like even I did. I went online and I'm like, Super Smash Bros. Release date?
Yeah, it's not until
it's December.
December.
Yeah.
Like, but Pokemon Go's still coming out first.
Right, but the Switches are out already. Yeah. Essentially, I think November 6th is the street date for the consoles, and we still have to wait like another month to get
I care about the game. I
know
want that game.
Well, and right now, EB Games and GameStop apparently are doing a trade-in, so you can trade in your Switch and get like $200 off a Switch. And everybody's like, why?
Yeah, it's like...
And it's like, well, because some people now want the special edition, so the guys who bought the first Switch are like, I want the Diablo Switch. Yeah. You know, okay, we can trade it in. And I'm like,
yeah.
Because then it's still another $200.
You technically could, like, with your own money, decorate it yourself.
And that's mostly where people are sitting with a lot of things. Especially the Super Smash Bros. One, because they're like, it's a line down and a line across.
You could.
And then I can get a decal for my dock.
Yes. Yeah.
You know. Dragon Ball Fighters. I finished the villain storyline.
Oh.
It pretty much ends with everybody getting their powers back and Frieza and Cell going, now we're going to beat you up, and then it ends. And Goku and Vegeta are like, all right. The last story arc is the Android story arc.
Yes.
So you start as 18.
Oh, okay.
And obviously you have 17 who's there, and he's like, no, that weird soul thing, they tried to put an artificial one in me and it didn't work. But I'll follow you around, because a lot of 18's moves are, 17 appears and does stuff.
Yeah.
Before he was his own fighter, he was like part of her moveset. 16 fights with you, and of course you're working for 21 at this point.
Right.
Who if you've played the rest of the storylines, is a bad person.
Bad person. Yeah, quite bad. Very,
She's all the bad guys you've ever faced rolled up into one bad guy. I will be Majin Buu and Frieza and Cell
in one body. Yeah.
So yes, it's still good, and I'm getting better at like a lot of the like figuring out the combos and blocking and then popping in.
You kicked my butt.
Yeah, because we played.
Yeah, we played.
I honestly can't wait for season 2 to get more fighters in that game.
Yeah.
Because I've also been watching Dragon Ball Super on Crunchyroll, and it's like, I forgot about this guy. Like, perfect, put him in the game. Oh, I forgot about this. Put him in the game. Put him in the game. Like Master Roshi in the latest episodes of Dragon Ball Super. So I finished the part. I think I talked to Tony last week about it. I finished the part where Beerus came to Earth, and him and Goku fought. And Beerus was like, "All right, Earth's kind of cool." So he faked trying to destroy it and screwed up, and was like, and then fell asleep. And Whis took him home, and Whis is like, "Dude, come on."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you mean? I've totally fell asleep back there. I was, let's go back and destroy it." Too far.
It's too far. Yeah.
I'm going back to bed. So after that, Vegeta finds out, because Whis keeps coming to Earth to eat our food.
Oh, yeah.
Because he loves our food.
He loves our food.
Which is, again, why Beerus is not going to destroy Earth, because our food is the bestest ever. But Bulma keeps feeding Whis.
Yeah.
And Vegeta, finally comes home from training after months and months and months, because that's what Vegeta does. And he comes home, he's like, what is Whis doing here? Like, oh my god, is Beerus back? Like, and Bulma's like, no, we've been hanging out. Because he wants to try our food, and
they're foodies.
We've started. Yeah, essentially they go out for lunch, and he's like, oh, and then all of a sudden Vegeta finds out that Whis trained Beerus.
Yeah.
So Beerus's teacher is actually Whis, and he's like, oh my god, you have to train me, and Whis is like, well, no. And Vegeta's like, what if I find you the best food ever? Because apparently everything revolves around food, and he knows it.
Food is best.
So he goes all over the place, and Whis is like, oh yeah, the sushi here is really good, because Bulma has taken Whis to all of these places to try food, and finally Vegeta's like trying to cook for him and he can't crack an egg because he's like panicked so hard. Like,
he's Vegeta.
He's Vegeta. And he finally feeds. He's like, wait, I know something Bulma has not told you about because she wants it all for herself, and it's literally a cup of noodles, like ramen noodles, in the cup, the bowl, and Whis falls in love with it, thinks it's the best thing ever, so he takes Bulma's entire stash with him and Vegeta, and they go back to Beerus' planet to train. Chi-Chi has spent the 100 million Zeni that Goku got from Satan.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the beginning, Satan, to kind of propel everything forward, he's like, here's 100 million Zeni, and Goku's like, sweet, I don't have to farm anymore.
Yeah, I don't have to be a farmer.
Yeah, money. So he gave it to Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi spent it all within the Beerus saga because Vidal's now pregnant with Pan.
Yeah.
So she has spent all of her money on the new grandkid. So Goku has to go back to farming. And he's like, what happened to the money? She's like, I spent it, and they do the whole anime like,
yeah, we're gonna the good anime.
So then, for whatever reason, Goku finds out that Vegeta's been training with Whis for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Because Goku did get to go Super Saiyan God and all that stuff, so he still is Goku. But he's like, what do you mean? Like, he's been training with Whis. Like, bring Whis here so I can go train. And Chi-Chi, like, he's like, I gotta do it without Chi-Chi finding out. So Bulma gives him a cell phone and was like, I'll call you when Whis comes again, and you can ask him nicely if you can go train. So he goes and he's like, Whis, like, I want to train with you. And Whis is like, it's about time. Like, I'm wondering when you were gonna ask. Like, sure, just let me have lunch with Bulma and then we'll go. And Chi-Chi finds out right at the end of that episode, and it's literally her going like, Goku, get back here, as he like grips onto Whis' waist as Whis takes off. Because Whis is like, I'm done with all this drama, like, bye. And Goku's like, you're taking it with you.
With Chi-Chi's face like...
And Chi-Chi's like, ah, and Gohan's like, oh, Mom. And she's like, I know, it's your dad, whatever.
Yeah, that's always what happens.
It is. She goes from like super angry to like, oh, Goku. Yeah, in 5 seconds flat, which was kind of cute. Because I was really kind of pissed off at Chi-Chi for, being so angry.
Yeah, when she's the one that blew the 100.
And she knows that, this is Goku. Like, she's like, well, to be a good grandfather, stop fighting. Like, show her that you can get a job and be and he's like, I'm sitting there going, he's the best fighter in the world who saved the world how many times? Like, come on, man.
He's like the protector.
Yeah, and you knew this. Like, Chi-Chi from before, they kind of changed her character. And, I mean, she's not in the show a lot, but
she used to be a fighter way back when.
Right, that was kind of the shtick.
Yeah.
Either way, so Goku goes, and him and Vegeta have now been training on Beerus' planet. And in the meantime, it goes back to the Frieza army.
Oh.
So it's been led by this one guy, and he's like, oh, man, we can't do this without, like, the army's losing.
Yeah.
So he's like, we need Frieza back. So they send in a little mission to Earth with 2 of them to get the Dragon Balls. And unfortunately, the little goblin guy and his 2 cohorts, the dog and the little girl.
Oh, yeah.
Lord something or other. But he thinks he's a king of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, they finally got them all. They found all the Dragon Balls. And they're about to make their wish, and this guy appears and steals the dragon. Like, he's like, you call the dragon, like, we have a wish to make. And he's like, oh. So they summon Shenron.
Yeah.
And Shenron appears, and they're like, we want to resurrect Vegeta. Or not Vegeta, sorry, Frieza.
Frieza.
And then it's like, well, okay, cool. But he comes in pieces, because the last time he fought Trunks, he ended up in pieces. So I can bring him back. But he's going to be in bite-sized, like, he's fun-sized. And they're like, that's cool. We have these, like, regeneration chambers now. Do it anyways. So they get Frieza, Frieza back in a bunch of tiny pieces. And
That's
then...
weird.
Yeah, I know. And then Shenron's like, all right, you got 2 more wishes.
Yeah.
And they're like, 2? He's like, well, yeah, since, all of the other stuff has happened, he's like, I grant 3 wishes, unless they're big ones. Like, you guys wanted, like, everybody on Earth brought back?
That's
counts.
a big wish, yeah.
That counts for all 3. He's like, I can bring, Frieza back, easy peasy. 2 more wishes, and so they're like, oh, do we bring, Cooler back, and like, like everybody. And before they can do anything, the dog and the little girl, she wishes for the best ice cream in the world. He wishes for like 100,000 Zeni. And the other guy, their leader's like, oh man, I didn't get to make a wish. And they're like, yeah, but look at all this money we have now. and ice cream. Let's go for dinner. And they're all like, because that's kind of like the conclusion to their little story as they go off.
Creators love food.
I know. It's the guys who make Dragon Ball are just like, food. But Frieza gets resurrected, and then you find out that Frieza has never trained at all in his entire life.
Frieza has never trained?
No, so his fighting Goku way back when Dragon Ball Z pretty much, went to Namek and did that whole shtick.
Yeah.
He had never trained. He just fought. Yeah.
What?
So that's the whole shtick, is he goes, I'm an excellent, I can coordinate and I can think and I'm a genius that way. So he's like, I conclude that if I train for 4 months, because they find out that, like, that he gets updated, like, well, did he beat Majin Buu?
Yeah.
Like, he did this, he did that, and Frieza's like, oh, he got stronger, did he? Well, if I train for 4 months, I can reach that level and surpass him.
Yeah.
So Frieza trains for 4 months, and then takes his entire army to Earth. But Goku and Vegeta are off on Beerus' planet, and now they've been put into Whis' staff, which is essentially like a hyperbolic time chamber-esque type thing.
Yeah.
So they have no idea all this stuff's going on. So it's up to Master Roshi, Krillin, who's been a cop for the last...
He's been a cop.
He hasn't been training. Tien. Minus... Chaozu, because he left Chaozu behind.
Yeah.
Yamcha hasn't shown up.
Yeah.
So he's not there. Piccolo and Gohan. And Gohan, like, Piccolo's like, you couldn't even find your, like, training gi? Like... He shows up in a tracksuit to fight these bad guys, and he's like, you couldn't even find your stuff. Like, you've been a dad for the last however long. Like, have you been keeping up with your training? And he's like
no.
Yeah.
Young Gohan was the most badass Gohan.
Well, and this Gohan does. Like, he sits there and he's like, I'll protect this world with everything I've got. Like, he's like, I think I can still go Super Saiyan. And then Frieza shows up, and Bulma shows up with an intergalactic space ranger dude who's kind of purple and has I forgot his name, but he shows up and he doesn't want to fight, and Bulma starts like yelling at Frieza because that's Bulma.
Yeah,
like, she's like, we've got to say, and he can take you up. No, and Gohan's like, shh. Like, I have not been training. I don't know if I can actually go. I can take his bad guys. Yeah. I cannot take him. Like, shh, chillax, yo. And then they go after Krillin because Frieza thinks it'll be funny if they fight and kill Krillin again.
Oh, no.
And Krillin isn't all that confident until all of a sudden he's, like, dodging attacks from all these other guys. And he's like, why am I such a good fighter? And Roshi's like, because it's a good thing Roshi's there, because he's like, you've been watching some of the best fighters fight for how long?
Yeah.
You've been fighting with them for how long? Of course you're good at this. Now fight! But Roshi goes big.
Yeah, he goes boom.
And, when Krillin does get his stuff back, he's doing, like, his moves that are, like, spreading out and blowing stuff up. And, Tien's doing his thing. And Master Roshi's even like, I'll show you all, like, Kame, like, the original Kame. And you're like, yeah. And then Gohan goes pretty hard. And then one of the generals comes to fight. And Gohan ends up going Super Saiyan because he gets smacked into a wall and comes up like, all right, let's do this thing. And beats him up a little bit until Captain Ginyu...
He's back?
A frog.
Right.
He comes back and actually changes places with this new general of Frieza's army. And comes back.
Right, because he has that mind. He can switch minds.
He can change. Yeah, he can change. And all he has to do is you have to have, like, him and the other guy say change at the same... Whatever it happens to be. So the frog writes change on the ground. And the general's like, change? Like, why is this frog... and all of a sudden... And then Frieza, where I'm at right now, goes to take out Gohan, and someone gets in the way. So it's pretty...
Is Gotenks the thing in Super?
So and they left the boys behind because they didn't want them getting hurt because the two of them just jump into things without thinking. So this general was fighting and overtaking the other 5.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Frieza had done something, and they're like, it switches to Goten and Trunks, and they're like, did you feel that? Yeah, I felt that. Like, they're having fun without us. Like, so all of a sudden, Gotenks flies in, and he's just Super Saiyan. He doesn't go to level 3, but he's like, Super Gotenks to the rescue, and he headbutts the guy in the crotch.
Classic Gotenks.
Yeah, and then they're like, we're gonna stop you, evildoer, and Bulma's like, boys, like, get out of there, and they're like, we're the only people who can stop these guys, like, and he starts making fun of Frieza, and all of a sudden the fusion time runs out.
Oh, no.
And they're like, never mind. Backtrack. So yeah, the two of them are there, and it's like, well, at least they can still go Super Saiyan out of any, I was worried Gohan was just gonna be like, I can't go Super Saiyan. So yeah, it's actually Super's a pretty good show, and the animation most of the time is pretty spectacular. Yeah. It's free on Crunchyroll. You get you have to watch ads.
That's okay. We grew up in a day and age where you had to watch ads no matter what.
You have to watch ads.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah, if you look, it's an app.
Okay.
And you can stream it to your. You can watch it on your computer. You can stream it to your Chromecasts if you have Chromecasts or smart TVs or whatever it happens to be. We also watched The Spy Who Dumped Me. Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon.
Huh, I think I've heard of this.
So I think it's Kate McKinnon. Either way, the one girl from Ghostbusters who was kind of the eccentric-y type science person.
Yeah.
She's in it. Okay. She's the best friend of Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis has dated a spy, and he subsequently
played by
I don't know, some dude.
Oh, some random guy.
He broke up with her.
Okay.
And then essentially to get over him, they're gonna burn all of his stuff. So they text him going like, "We're burning all of your junk." Da 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 da. And there's a giant action sequence that's going on while he gets this text. He's like, "Oh," so he calls her like, "Please don't burn my stuff," because there's something in one of the things he left at her place. Either way, he goes to get it, and he's like, "Listen, I'm a spy. You know that now. You've been told. Da 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 da. Like I left this thing here. You have to get it to this person in this place." And blah 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 blah. And she's like, "Why are you telling me?" And he's like, in case I die." And then he subsequently gets shot.
Oh, no.
So now the whole point is Mila Kunis and her best friend have to travel to Europe to deliver this thing to the right person, and they get stuck in this spy thing. But instead of just being a comedy, there's actually some really decent action sequences in this whole flick. Like, beyond what I thought thered be. Like, it's almost Kinsman level, like, hand through knife through a table to skewer a hand, and then, like, dunk a guy's head in a fondue pot to, like, drown him, and, like, all this other stuff going on, and it's like... Oh, there's like and again, not Kingsman action sequences,
but still like considered action,
but really good action. Mostly actors I didn't recognize.
Okay.
X-Files, the lady who plays Scully.
Oh, she's in it.
She's in it.
Oh,
and not very much, just in it. Gillian Anderson. Yeah, she's in it for not a whole lot of the movie, but she's the only other person I kind of recognized. But yeah, good movie overall. Cool. So it was like, it's nice to see the action comedy kind of thing and not cheap out on the action.
Good.
And not like, and again, like you watch a Rush Hour type thing, like that's Jackie Chan action. This was like a full on. There were action sequences and car chases with people exploding and getting run over and getting hit and that kind of stuff. And again, not cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking forward to Johnny English with Rowan Atkinson.
Yes.
But I know what I'm expecting out of that.
Yeah, it's not going to be like...
There's not going to be like blood going everywhere and like intense action. It's going to be silly action. And if there's a car scene, like the car that's chasing him is just randomly going to explode in the rearview mirror with him going like...
Yeah.
You know,
with Rowan Atkinson's face.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep going. So, yeah, we watched that one. Good movie.
Cool.
I also watched a thing with Rowan Atkinson. He was on the Graham Norton show. Graham Norton, big guy in Europe or in England for interviewing people. Yeah. So he keeps all of his guests on. So like if he's interviewing Rowan Atkinson, there's other people still sitting there throughout the interview. It's a really good show to actually watch. But he asked if Mr. Bean was ever going to make a comeback, and Rowan Atkinson's like, I don't think so. He's like, he's done. Like he's played his part. He's done his thing, and he's like, and Graham Norton's like, well, being that Mr. Bean doesn't talk, he's kind of famous everywhere, right? Like, can you go anywhere? And he's like, what I always get is the like that look of like, are you? And he's like, honestly, it would be easier if people just came up and went like, are you Mr. Bean? Like, really? Because he's like, all I get is this weird paranoid look from like everybody. And he's like, I did have one guy come up to me once and go, you are almost a spitting image of that Mr. Bean fellow. And he goes, well, I am. Like, I'm Rowan Atkinson. And the guy goes, that's funny. You're not. Like, you could almost be Mr. Bean. And he's like, I had this guy infuriated because I kept talking about how I was Mr. And the more I tried to convince him I was, the less he thought I was. He was at the point where he's like, you could really enter an imposter competition and be Mr. Bean. And he's going, it's because I am.
At what point do you just go, okay.
I find it very cool, though, that Rowan Atkinson is that guy that you could approach and be like, you know, are you Mr. Bean? And he would be like, yep, hi, good to meet you. Know.
He's a very down to earth.
Seems very down to earth.
Very down to. Yeah, I think he has a degree in something that's.
Oh no, they all came from Cambridge and.
Yeah, like he has like, but he has like a physics or engineering something.
They all do.
Yeah.
If you watch, if you read, so I've read Stephen Fry's autobiography or his second book.
Like they all have something that's like.
Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie met at. I'm gonna get this wrong and it's gonna be horrible, but either a Cambridge or an Oxford or like one of the big schools, because in England you pretty much do. You go.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You go to one of those schools. To them, they're not like Cambridge and Oxford. They're just schools. And the way that the degrees work are very open and fluid and different. Yeah. So you kind of, it's more of an experience than, you know,
I see.
Specifically
this is my
classes.
Career path.
Yeah. So Stephen Fry actually writes about going to Edinburgh, where the biggest fringe festival is in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
You know, first only to, you know, and again, it's kind of cool, Edmonton's, but Edinburgh is the fringe. And again, because you have Oxford and Cambridge and those schools that go there.
Yeah.
And their acting is like, you know, they're the Patrick Stewarts and the Ian McKellens. And like, you get those Emma Thompson was in school with Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry.
Oh, yeah.
But Stephen Fry writes about like, oh, we have to go see this person. Like, you're going to find him to be the funniest guy you've ever seen. And like, he does this one-man show. And he's like, oh, we'll go pick up tickets at the door or whatever. And it was sold out, but they managed to get in to see this Rowan Atkinson guy.
Yeah.
Who was going to school at the time. Like, they all grew up at the same time. The Monty Python guys went to one school.
They went to...
And everybody else kind of went to another school. And Mr. Bean, or Rowan Atkinson, was with the Monty Python guys, but didn't actually get in with them sort of thing. He did his own shtick.
It's like the golden age of...
It was insane the amount of comedy that came out of... you know, this many years at these schools.
Yeah.
Like, they really did bring forward a bunch of stuff, which is kind of cool, but it's really cool to hear, like, Stephen Fry, who's a big name in Europe, and going to see this, like, young kid, Rowan Atkinson, and you're like, Mr. Bean before he was Mr. Bean.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And you're just like, that's crazy. And then they were all on Blackadder together.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was, you know, Rowan Atkinson's show with... And then Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry ended up on that show.
Yeah.
But you're just like, man, the amount of talent that comes out of, you know, England.
Yes.
Ireland. You know, all of Canada.
This one place, yeah.
We're finally, our TV's getting to the point where I am proud to say we have the CBC and some shows on the CBC.
We're getting somewhere.
And England, it's like the BBC's just like, oh, you're funny. Want a show?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, what? Okay.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's kind of a cool one. But yeah, I do want to see Johnny English. And then
him.
The only game I've played other than those ones is Horizon Zero Dawn, which was the one I spotted off your list.
Oh yes.
I've made it to the big city.
Yes.
Meridian or whatever.
I actually just made it there too.
So I've made it there. I've done the one quest when you get there. You meet the guy that you saw before, and he kind of takes you and does some stuff.
Yeah.
And then now I'm just side questing again.
Yeah, there's after you get to that stage, you get a whole bunch of side quests.
A lot of side quests. Yes. And then I'm looking for all the tall necks too to try and get the areas all
figured out.
Which thankfully, unlike Assassin's Creed, there's not 8,000 of them.
Oh, is it more like
there's like 4 of them.
Oh.
Which is kind of nice.
I've only gotten that one.
I like having the areas like so I can see everything.
What's going on.
But that's my thing is like I'm like, oh, I'll go start climbing those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I climbed the last one and it's like, God, all the long necks. And I'm like, no, I haven't. Was there a DLC? Because there's a 5th one way off to the side and I don't know if he's...
That is the new... Because that new Winter Zone, that's supposed to be DLC.
Okay, cool.
That we got.
Which we got because we got the complete edition for stupidly cheap because we didn't buy the game until way after
release.
So that's the only one I haven't gotten.
I think that's the DLC.
And that would make sense to me because I got the achievement and I'm like, but there's another one. All right, whatever. So I've gotten the whole map revealed at least to me now.
Yeah.
I've gotten 3 cauldrons.
Oh wow, I've only gotten the ones.
And again, as soon as I see a cauldron, I'm like, must get because
I should do that.
It makes the game way easier when you can. Well, because I can now sneak up behind like a clawtooth and boomf, and at least I have something fighting for me.
Yes, you have a.
Or I can hide in the bushes while he fights. And I'm just like,
or set up traps as he's like.
Yeah.
I should probably go do those cauldrons.
Yeah, I have enough resources now that I'm not worried about I can use the traps and stuff now and
just
all
making
that. Yeah.
your own stuff.
Yeah. Right now I'm working towards. I found a merchant who sells a fast travel backpack.
Oh.
That is infinite.
Oh, so you don't have to keep making those. Or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. The
fast travel.
Yeah. No, it's like the fast travel thing's funny too because it's like a fast travel pack. It looks like a sleeping bag, and it's like I could. Oh, I'm here.
Because I've been like hoarding these fast travel things. I'm like,
you can make them for fairly cheap. Yeah. And again, I do like running because you can pick up so much stuff, and it's a gorgeous looking game. Yeah. Like Tony and I said, there's tiny little things in that game. Like when talking to other people, it looks really static and kind of
that bugs me.
And it was funny because Chris is like, "I will defend this game," and I'm like, "No. Good game. I'm clearly still playing it, and it's not a problem."
Editing.
There's little things every once in a while that I go, "Oh, so close.
Yeah,
but not quite there."
Yeah.
But the combat, the traps, the setting things up, all of that stuff.
Yeah, the gameplay is
intense and awesome. And you get the next set of you get the next bow and arrow that has the piercing arrows, and that changes the game completely. And there's another bow that has different kinds of arrows, and I'm like, so do I get rid of my rope caster and put do I have two separate bows to start doing this kind of stuff?
You only have 4 spots.
You only have 4 spots. But I find my rope caster to be pretty handy, even though it's a fairly mundane weapon. But I still remember getting to one of those long necks, and I think I talked about this one last week. But there's the crocodile.
Oh, the snapjaws.
Yeah, so there's a snapjaw, and there's an island with water, and the long neck's walking through the water. So you have to get onto the island, find one of the little cliffs to jump up to him on, and it's you can either kill the snapjaws and get up there, and I'm like, I can just make a run for it. So the snapjaw's chasing me, so it was and nailed him to the ground.
Yeah.
As I'm like, okay, come on, buddy, come on, come on, tall neck, we're almost
go.
As the snapjaw's fine.
Because
it's a handy weapon.
It is. Those snapjaws, they jump further than I expected for a crocodile.
Yes, they do.
I was like, I should be safe here. Oh darn!
Or not. But yeah, good game overall.
I like the game.
And a lot of variety, a lot of I'm not finding myself doing the same thing over and over again. Because if you do, you're I feel like I'm just fighting a bunch of creatures and hunting things and this and that and everything. All of a sudden, humans get into the mix, and you end up with the bandits or the this or the that, and it's oh good, this is a different. Yeah. Even the cauldrons change up. So one of them is a mine with humans in it that you have to take out.
Okay.
And then creatures.
Yeah, because I've only done the very first one.
Yeah. So I've done one because of when I came into the new zone.
Yeah.
Because the fog kind of reveals itself.
There's one that's
I saw it the south, so I did that one.
I'll go do that sometime soon.
Because it does help. Because all of a sudden, the tiger-esque type creatures, I can sneak up behind and actually get one of them.
I gotta do that.
Yeah. Or the weird chocobo bird things.
Oh yes,
I can get them too.
Oh good, because they're kind of a pain in the butt to fight all the time.
Right. So at least if you have one on your side,
it makes
even if he dies. You've taken one out without, and then you've damaged another one to a good point.
Done some significant stuff.
Yeah, and the piercing arrows are helpful if you don't have that bow yet.
Yeah.
That one.
Funny thing, I saved up all my metal shards and got the best bow
that you can possibly get.
But then I have really bad armor and everything else is really poor. I'm I should have thought about this because I have a great bow.
I have. But. One of the grenade launchers that was pretty expensive, so it's got freezing and electrifying grenades. I have the trip caster that is 3, so it's explosive fire and electric.
Nice.
And then my rope caster is still just a rope caster, and I'm refusing to get that one that shoots 4 or 6 arrows at a time, whatever. Yeah, I'm
I still have nothing that does freezing, fire, explosion. I saved it all, and I wanted that bow, and I was like, oh, this just shoots bows and fire arrows, I guess, and piercing arrows.
The piercing arrows are helpful though, because they take off armor and that kind of stuff. So. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. So yeah, for the most part, watch Sabrina.
Watch Sabrina.
The casting in that also really well done.
Really well done. Good actresses. Good actors.
Good everything. Because even some of the romantic scenes. There's one where she's sitting with the boyfriend on the stoop, and she goes, "You're a comic book guy." She's like, "Let's say you went into a cave, and a wizard was like, I will give you all sorts of superpowers."
Yeah.
And he's like flying. She's like, eventually, yes. And it's like, oh, cool. Because, they set that little piece up. And he's like, all right. And she's like, but you had to leave everybody behind. You're like your family and your girlfriend. And he goes, well,
she doesn't want to.
He's like, are you my girlfriend in this instance? Like, in this scenario? And she goes, well, yeah. And he goes, then no. And you're like, aww. Like, he's like, no power is enough, to take me away from you. And you're like, but it doesn't, because they're teenagers with the mushy gushy shit. Yeah. So you're like, it feels not like complete, like, and it's not where it's completely mushy gushy.
Yeah.
A lot of her stuff does center around her friends and her relationship with everybody in her life, which I think is where I'm really feeling the show, because it's like, her relationship with her aunts, her relationship with her cousin, her relationship with, again, her 2 female friends and her boyfriend. Again, her boyfriend plays a big part of it because he's the love interest, but,
So some teenage love there.
Yep, and there's curses and all this sort of stuff. Like these witches from the academy appear when she was trying to summon her familiar, and they put a curse on her.
Ooh.
So she runs to the school and goes into the showers and does some kind of cleansing type thing, and it still doesn't work. So one of her aunts is like, oh, do this and da 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 da, and the curse will go we'll get that curse off of you, and you're just like,
we'll figure that out. No big deal.
Cool. So yeah, the witchcraft part of it, I think, is going to be
cool,
fun.
It's
not just the fun. And again, I liked the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina, and it was cutesy and I'm going to cast a spell to help me with my homework. This is legitimately I need to get my principal out of the school for a day. What can I do to a guy who's never taken a sick day in his life?
Yeah.
Without killing him, because she's Sabrina. She doesn't want to kill people.
She's not completely evil.
She's not an evil witch. And that's her biggest concern with this whole signing the Book of the Beasts and laying her, giving herself to the Dark Lord is, how much does he get to control me? Do I have to do his? And a lot of the witches in these covens, it's well, yeah, you kind of have to listen to him and do what he tells you to do, but you get all these cool things, long life and magic powers, eternal youth almost, there's a lot going on. So yeah, every once in a while, he's going to tell you to do something and you got to do it. And thankfully, because she's half human and she's been going to school, she has these reservations about that kind of stuff. And they're really definitely bringing in the kind of the movement where it's, you have choice over your own body and your own actions and your, that consent piece of things, especially with a female lead of do I have the ability to say no? No. But they do it without being
they're not
preachy
directly
about it.
Okay.
And she does. There's at one point where she's do I have the chance to say no? What happens if I say no?
What does happen if you say no to Satan?
And that's the kind of can I say no to him? And there are the pieces where it's oh, they sent this guy to try and convince you to They must really want you. And it's well, but why me? And, why this and why that? Well, Satan isn't, the Dark Lord is a man. And you're just pew, 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 pew. And it makes sense. They do it very cheekily without being, heavy-handed. This show is all about female empowerment. Rights. Even though they start a club about female empowerment. But they do it because, as, a reaction to something that's going, they are trying to fight, giant jerks of some guys that are at the school.
There's the story, but then there's also the in between.
Yeah, and I mean every show has that kind of stuff, but this is definitely
how you execute it is very important.
They start a group because there's jocks at this school that think they own it, and they're the guys. And unlike Riverdale, where it's the cheerleaders and the jocks think they control part of it, this is 4 guys who think that they can walk all over women and that kind of stuff. And there's a group of
not cool.
Right. So in a show about female empowerment with witches, they've also thrown in the female empowerment part without being annoyingly preachy, which doesn't help your cause in any way, shape, or form when people are going,
yeah.
So in this case, it's legitimately a good way of doing it.
Way to do it.
And
that's good.
Their female group, spoilers-ish, I guess, to a joke, but it's called Wicca. Because she's a witch. It's a show about witches.
Witches. Fitting. Very fitting.
Very fitting. Very fitting. What have you been up to, sir?
I guess I'll reiterate Dragon Ball FighterZ. I still haven't finished the first
storyline.
Super Mario Party. It was just what we did.
Yep.
I haven't played too much.
But all those modes, it feels like a Mario Party game, right?
Yes, it feels very much like a Mario Party. I just haven't had a chance to play with too many people, and I don't think I could play by myself
no,
as
it's
much.
not a game you want to. Yeah, no,
and
it's a party
I don't
game.
want to get really good at all the mini games and then have people over and then just destroy them all and be like, haha, guys.
Someone posted online a story. They're like, they bought it and their roommate's like, oh, I'll play with you, and the guy's like, okay. But this game breaks families and people apart. Like, you're going to get massively angry at this game. No, I won't. And by the end of it, they're ready to, like, huck the TV out the window sort of thing. And it is that rage-inducing game where, you don't want to get better at the mini-games before everybody else does. You don't want to, like... And again, it is a game of chance with dice rolls and that kind of stuff. But you don't want to be the...
The big part. Like, it's fun.
I will dominate you at all mini-games because I'm the best at them. Yeah.
Because I play by myself. I can dominate all the AI at the mini-games. I still don't win. No. But still, I don't want to do that to a friend where I'm going to kill you at all these mini-games. And
let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to play with me anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Playing some, just going back to playing some Heroes of the Storm just because I just mindlessly play that game. I don't try in that game anymore.
They added the Dreadlord character.
Yes.
Mal'Ganis.
I haven't checked the updates, but when I first played...
He was super overpowered.
Yes.
Like every new hero in that game.
You could not kill him.
Yep.
And he could kill you. And it was horrendous.
Yep. So. It's always funny, though, because every time they add a new hero, the subreddit's like, never going back to this game. What a pile of junk. And it's like, this happens when Lucio came out.
Yeah.
Everybody complained. When this guy came... So if you actually voice your concerns in a calm and polite fashion, Blizzard will look at it and go... You are correct. So watching all these replays, we're going to tone this down and do this. They do a fairly good job of balancing that game.
Part of me thinks it's a business perspective, too.
Totally.
So that everybody
playing that new
buy that one at the beginning where it's a little more pricey. And then before the price goes down, they'll tweak them and then back to normal.
And then he's playable like normal.
Yeah. Still just doing Hearthstone here and there at work on my breaks, just I don't know, just cause.
It's an easy enough game to play on your phone or whatever,
And then I tried that Kona game because I found out I had that on my Steam too that you played.
Oh, right, I was gonna go, I know the name of this.
It's the one, you told me about this and it was on dirt cheap, so I bought it.
Good.
Yeah, and it's the one where you drive around.
You are a detective?
Yes.
Or a private eye or whatever.
Yeah, and you're trying to figure this stuff out, and it is all about you. You said... It's all about your car. You need to keep your car going, too.
Yeah, keep your car going at the beginning. Keep warm, keep this.
And it's very story heavy and...
Yep. No action.
No action, yeah. So
it's not like wolves appear out of somewhere and start like trying to eat you.
No, you're just, finding clues, going here, going there.
Very open-ended.
Yeah.
Weird game, though, because some weird stuff happens.
So I didn't get too far in it. Because I got distracted. I'm playing more Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's what Tony's been doing, too. Like, it's... Chris is pretty much the only person not because he's played it and beat it.
I decided for some fun reason to just go to ultra hard in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Good for you.
Just go there. So, because there's story mode where it's easy, you just do the story. There's easy. Then there's normal.
Sure. There's always usually.
Then there's hard, and then there's ultra hard. And I was like, why not? Then if I beat this, I get the trophy for it, and all the other ones do. So the progress is very slow, but...
This progress is going fairly slow for me, and I've been dying quite a bit on, like, normal.
Yeah, I die a lot.
No, I bet.
I die a lot. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. So...
you have to be very sneaky in that game.
Very sneaky.
They've built in the stealth element. Like, I know when Chris had first played it, he's like... I feel like they should have changed the combat a little bit so that, if you're combating, you can actually hold your own a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but the game teaches you right off the bat that sneaking is the way to do it. These are giant machines. You are,
Which makes sense. You're
human versus machines.
What is that one? I don't know what show it is, but meat. You're a meat bag versus
essentially
metal.
Yeah.
So, But no, great. We talked about it. Great game.
Very cool.
Some little things about that, cinematics.
Tiny little things. I understand why, because I think it was Chris's game of the year last year.
Yeah.
And I understand why.
Yes.
Like
it's great.
And in all honesty, being that open world exploration game with the bows and the weapons and that kind of stuff, I prefer Horizon Zero Dawn over the new Zelda.
Yes.
And again, I think I told this to Tony, but it was Zelda didn't feel like Zelda.
No, it didn't.
Which crushed me inside.
And I tell that to people all the time, and they're like, "It was Zelda."
I know.
I know. No, yeah, it's Zelda.
People think I'm nuts, anyways, because I'm that guy who I liked Skyward Sword.
Yes, I love the dungeons. The
dungeons in Skyward Sword, the storyline to Skyward Sword. I know it was very linear. I know it was very compact.
Yeah.
But I thought I liked it better than I liked Twilight Princess. Yeah. I'm the guy who likes
I really like Skyward Sword.
I like Skyward Sword. I liked the sailing one.
Wind Waker.
Thank you.
Wind Waker was probably one of my top.
I loved Wind Waker. I liked A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. Yeah. I like the weird Zeldas.
Even the. Oh my gosh.
You know that one.
That one we don't play anymore because we have the Switch now. We don't call it Game Boy. Is it still called Game Boy?
No, it's a 3DS. A Link to the Past? No, not A Link to the Past. Link's Awakening?
Link Between Worlds.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Even that one was good.
That was based off the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. But that's what I mean. I like those ones, and you talk to people, and they're like, well, where would you put, Ocarina of Time? And I'm like, lower. And they're like, but it's the best one. And I'm like, no, the Super Nintendo was the best one, in my humble opinion. And they're like, that was the worst. You became like a bunny that couldn't even do anything. And I'm like, yeah, and it introduced the Dark World. Yeah. And this and this, so all the things you love about Ocarina of Time is all in the Super Nintendo game.
That's the thing.
The Dark World was supposed to be this image of the world that flipped things on its head and did this kind of stuff, and I'm like,
and that introduced more story elements.
Totally.
Breath of the Wild, I felt, had no story elements.
Well, no, you had to find those spots to get the little bits of story that all happened way back. I honestly would have rather played the way back when story.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Those flashbacks, I'm like,
I want to be in that.
Can I play those ones? Yeah. Where, Zelda's, researching and I'm guarding her? That would be a fun mission.
I felt Breath of the... Well, I know we're going off topic here, but Breath of the Wild was just...
It was a good game, but not a good Zelda game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I felt like there was no story because you could just go fight Ganon.
You could.
And it was just, okay, you fought Ganon.
Yeah.
Save the princess.
Yeah.
And, you find a little bit of history. And I was
Which is fun for a challenge perspective.
Yes.
You can, as soon as you can get to Ganon, go and fight Ganon. Yes. But at the same time, it's the dungeons weren't themed.
Nope.
Not as much as they should have been.
Yeah. You didn't find a new weapon where that was I got the hook shot.
Right, because they wanted you to be able to explore everything
whenever you wanted.
However you wanted to do it, but and I'm like, but I liked being locked behind certain things.
And then you have that anticipation to be like, I can go here now. I can go here now.
And I thought the 3DS did a good job of unlocking certain things where it was like, oh, you can rent the bombs from this guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Which unlocks this area, which you can then go, and then eventually you unlock the bombs permanently.
Yes.
Same shtick for all the weapon. It was like, oh, you want to go here first? Go here first, but you need this weapon. Take this and go. And it's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that unlocked it a little bit more, and I don't want them to do that for every game because that would be atrocious. Having a guy who's like, I have all the best items. Yeah. Here's everything you're gonna collect.
Don't make it a thing, please.
And enjoy. But that was a good way of unlocking things as opposed to just I got a boomerang as a weapon, but it was it had durability and it could get destroyed, and I'm like,
it's like,
oh, this isn't the same as my regular. I'm used to having the boomerang that does things. I'm used to getting the hook shot that does stuff, and I'm used to
where you could use the boomerang for functional purpose, like solve a puzzle, or use it as a weapon.
And the fact that my swords drove me nuts, including the Master Sword, which also again drove me nuts.
And every time I wanted to climb, it rained, and I would fall down the mountain. Every time. I was like, it's not raining. Gotta go climb that thing now. Climb! Raining.
I have flashbacks playing Horizon Zero Dawn where all of a sudden it starts raining and she'll say oh, I guess I'm getting a little wet. And I'm like, oh no. But it doesn't happen in that game because there's no climbing.
Yeah.
Oh, Zelda.
Breath of the Wild, if they gave you an item where you could climb in rain, it would make it much better.
That would make it so much better. But I get weird looks when I'm like, the Super Nintendo game was the best one.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, Ocarina of Time was. And I'm like, out of the N64 games, I like Majora's Mask more.
Yeah, I really like Majora's Mask.
And they're like, well, it was good, but it wasn't Ocarina of Time good. And I'm like, have you played that game since it came out?
The dungeons,
good game.
Yeah.
Dungeons were great. I still remember hook-shotting my way into, the forest temple, and fighting the werewolf. I like Ocarina of Time. Do not get me wrong. There has never been a bad Zelda game.
No.
But that, and then I'm like, Twilight Princess, And they're like, well, that was the next best one. And I'm like, what?
Depends, I guess, what you like. If you depending if you're enjoying more of what you're doing in the open world or if you're enjoying what you're doing in the dungeons, I think. I'm more of the I liked the dungeons a lot. Yeah. And I didn't get the dungeons.
We really didn't. Like, it's like, well, they were puzzles, and it's like, yeah, but they weren't themed puzzles. Yeah. Like, I liked knowing I was going to the forest temple and the water temple and the fire. If I'm going up a volcano, that dungeon should have fire elements to it. Yeah. Yeah. Like, even they tried to, and the Breath of the Wild did, like, in the water one, the boss was in water. Yeah. But I didn't feel Zelda-y to me. So this game, like Horizon to me, is, I'm like, when they both came out at the same time, we obviously all played Zelda because 2 of us didn't have PlayStations. Yeah. Chris played that one. Like, honestly, I think Horizon is the better game.
I would agree, sir.
Yep. I would agree. That's a weird little, if you're going to compare the 2 games because they came out at the same time, and they're almost the same game. Yeah. Bow, stick instead of a sword. And again, there's no durability on my stick. Yeah. Crazy how that makes the fighting a little bit better because I'm not worried about, like,
Damn it, I'm going to lose this.
Yeah, I have to find another stick.
And then the last game I've tried is... So Magic the Gathering, they've always released, like, digitally-wise. Of course, they have their physical cards. Yep. Digitally, they have their, your 2017, your 2018. Well, I think 2018 might have been. Now they have come with an online Magic the Gathering arena, which is like Hearthstone, but Magic. So Hearthstone, if you want to compare Hearthstone to Magic, Magic is way more complex, way more difficult, way more in-depth. You got to know your stuff. Yes. Which I think... so
that's the beauty of Hearthstone. It is easy.
It's very easy, yeah.
It's easy to jump into. It's easy enough to get into. Yeah. I remember doing Magic drafts where, if you didn't know what cards did, like you're going through, like they're passing cards down, and you're like, I will take this one. Yeah. And then you get into the game, and you're like,
really hope it synergizes with your deck.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's not going to work. Or, you're building a deck going like, oh, I actually have to, you have to make sure all the cards work together.
Yeah. The good thing, like, I really like Magic the Gathering. I've been missing that game. I just never had the money to buy all these cards to build a deck.
So and then you have to go to places to play on a regular basis. Yeah.
So this way, I'm hoping I can get a lot of, like, if you play casually, you get in-game currency. Like for Stone, you can get cards out of that, and then maybe I can get a good deck that way instead of spending real money. But it is a lot harder than Hearthstone, and I've been playing more Hearthstone than Magic, so I gotta really.
Well, and especially when you only want to play every once in a while.
Yes, yeah.
Hearthstone's the easy, like, I can play for 5 minutes.
And it's a quick game.
As opposed to Magic, which can be like...
It can last hours if you're...
I have to show you a video after on that one, actually. Okay. Sure. It's done by one of the guys that I know Tony likes, and I always forget his name, but the guy, he's something Wong, and he does a bunch of stuff online. Yeah. But it is one of those, like, Magic turns that takes 20 years.
Yeah. So, like, tap this and do this. Yeah.
I tap my land to do this, and then yeah.
Like, right now, though, like, I'm playing against... I can just tell, like, I am way out of my league. Yeah. Like, there are people who know what, like, all the different words and...
Oh, they've got all the stuff down, and that's the biggest piece is, again, like, when I used to play with the cards... Yeah. It's the same shtick where you go and you're playing a 12-year-old who has got all of them memorized. Yeah. Even, Tony with Pokemon cards. Yeah. It's legitimately like, oh, I know if you play that card and I play this card, I'm going to have an advantage.
You can anticipate your opponent's move. Yeah. Everyone can anticipate what I'm going to do. I have no idea what my opponent's going to do.
And that's the other piece is the more you play, the more you get that kind of, like, you get into the meta of it all. Yeah. And then there is the pieces of, like, as soon as you see a blue card come out, it's like, oh, that's what kind of deck they're playing.
And this is their
strengths, especially Magic.
Yeah.
As soon as color, like as soon as one color comes out, you're like, oh, because blue is more of the traps and the quick play, like that kind of Magic stuff. Whereas
your forest or your
land, the greens, the green guys, the forest guys are more like a lot of units in this kind of stuff.
Buffing those units.
Yeah. Fire, I believe, is just pure on attack.
Yeah, very aggressive. Yeah. And then
which fits it fits the whole theme of it, but you can definitely, as soon as one guy plays red, you're like, oh, all right, I've got to go either defensive or I've got to do this. Yeah. Or they play a card and you're like, my deck is not built to beat yours.
I will lose this.
I'm done. Yeah. I will just save us all some time.
So definitely a lot more time consuming, a lot more thinking involved. Drives my brain into the ground, so that's why, like, I still love it, but Hearthstone is like, I'm just gonna casually, just mindlessly play this game.
It's kind of the Heroes of the Storm effect for us.
Yes. Heroes of the Storm is like, mindlessly
mindless
playing
MOBA. Yeah.
Versus, like, well, I don't play MOBAs really much anymore. That's why I just play Heroes, because it's mindless.
Did you try Arena of Valor on the Switch?
I did.
Yeah, no.
I didn't quite feel it.
Then I was all excited because Arena of Valor on the computer, you can play as Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman, and like they have DC characters built in.
Maybe trying it on the PC, but I don't know.
But yeah, they didn't build those guys into the Switch version, and then they did an AMA on Reddit, and people are like, so like Nintendo characters being on the Switch.
I think I'm done with MOBAs. Like I
play, for the most part.
Like I just play Heroes just because it's just.
I know those characters too, which I think is the other piece.
Yeah.
Like when they announced the Dreadlord, I'm like, Again, when I played Warcraft 3 without my two Horde compatriots, my Orc compatriots, I was always undead. I liked the ghouls, and I liked, my hero was the Dreadlord. Like, I liked those units.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, Mal'Ganis, and I'm like, because he's probably got the flying bats, and like I already know half of his moves because I've played Warcraft 3.
Yeah. So I think that's why I still play Heroes, is because the characters. I'm like, I'm gonna be this guy today because I know him.
Yeah. But even when they make you, it's like play as a warrior class. You're like, okay. There's a warrior somewhere that I like playing as.
But I don't really play it for the MOBA aspect anymore. I'm not into really MOBAs anymore. No. Just the So that's that.
Cool.
And then the things I've been watching.
Excellent.
Tony talked about this, the Dragon
Prince. It's on my thing in my book somewhere, is to watch Dragon Prince.
So
Dragon Prince.
Some of the same creators as Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Not Avatar: The Purple or the Blue People, by James Cameron.
Yeah.
Not the Last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan.
Which I should mention too. I guess I don't know if you guys mentioned on the news, but they are Netflix is planning
Netflix one.
Yeah,
which
should be good.
Hopefully will be good. Well, it's got all the actual Last Airbender people.
Yes.
But with real actors. So
real actors. I think that'll be fantastic.
Well, the amount that Tony's talked about the Dragon Prince, and again, it's a cool story. I think that was the one where the animation was a little off to him.
Yes,
but apparently they're fixing that for the next season.
Yeah, I read about that too.
So that's good. But yeah, he was talking about it, and he's like, you can tell it's the Last Airbender people just with the way the story flows and everything, how it works, and da-da-da. And he's like, so if those people are involved in live action Netflix Airbender, everything should be good.
Everything will be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely tell when something is hand-drawn versus what is digital.
Yeah.
And you can see it when it switches. And you can see it but you're like, okay. And you know they're improving that, so.
Yeah.
So then I started watching Seven Deadly Sins, which is an anime. It's technically a Netflix original based off the manga.
Okay.
So this is Seven Deadly Sins. I guess it's vaguely references the Catholic Seven Deadly Sins. Not really, because they're actually good guys. The Seven Deadly Sins.
Good twist. So it's like gluttony is like, I'ma feed you right. Eat your vegetables, but lots of them.
No, it more like describes like their personality, like
cool.
or their who they are, I guess. But so they're based on this world where monsters and humans still live in the same universe.
Yep.
There are these holy knights that protect humans.
Yep.
And they have magical abilities.
Cool.
Plot twist, holy knights are not nice.
Surprise, surprise.
And the Seven Deadly Sins are actually the ones
fighting for good,
who were holy knights but were framed as the enemies of the state, almost.
It's a good twist. Now, is this one in Japanese?
Yes.
With the subtitles?
Yes. You can watch it in English. Like, you can Netflix, you can change it, and with anime, the dubbing...
It's 50-50.
Yeah.
There's a show that Tony's been watching, and it's on Crunchyroll as one of the advertisements, but it's Anime Detective Agency or something like that.
Oh.
And again, it's this guy that goes around and solves crimes, but one of the promos is like, we're in dub territory, and there's two guys talking, and they're dubbed over.
Yeah.
And it's dubbed versus subbed.
Yeah.
Like how you would rather watch your anime. And honestly, I'm with the subbed group most of the time.
I love the sub group.
Even playing Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yeah, no, we play it in Japanese.
I have it in Japanese. Goku's funnier in with a really high-pitched voice, and like he's dumb as all. Yeah. Like he's a sack of rocks that likes to fight.
It's funny because, like, I don't know the background of Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
The main character, like, they love to eat, and he's very gropey. He is always groping this one lady, like literally, like it is like
anime,
he is, like right in there. There's obviously people calling him a pervert.
Yep.
He steals one lady's panties right from her dress, and you see his hand in there. And
so it's Master Roshi.
Yeah, and he is definitely a pervert, but in a funny way. I'm sure it would offend people if
probably. But so would Dragon Ball at this point.
Exactly.
That's it. Again, watching Dragon Ball Super, there's one point where they're on a cruise ship and Roshi's looking through, like they haven't left the port yet, and he's looking through the binoculars on the ship. And it's like, what are you looking at? And his nose starts bleeding.
Yeah.
And then it pans in because again, it's not the made for North America stuff. No, so it zooms in on a girl in a bikini, like he's looking at her butt, and
and they're like.
Oh yeah, and they
everything
is just and then like he zooms over and like works his way up a woman, and he's just and all of a sudden and then the pig's with him, and like all of a sudden his nose starts bleeding. You're like, oh
gosh, yeah. There's a lot of that in this.
Yeah.
Women with way oversized
everything.
Yeah. There's even one scene where he's like, there's two girls that eventually dress in the same outfit, and one guy's like, nope, I know which girl it is because that's 34, 25, 35. And they don't tell you what. They obviously, like, there's kids watching, and they don't say that's her butt waist.
Yeah.
But he's just like
bust and waist.
But one guy's like, those anime.
Oh yeah, the anime face.
Yeah.
You will like Crunchyroll, I believe. It is quite for anime, because I know you are an anime fan. So it is. They have some dubbed stuff and some sub stuff. But it's piles and piles and piles and piles of, and you can subscribe and it gets rid of the ads and all that stuff. And I think it was fairly cheap.
Yeah.
Like I looked into it because I was getting tired of watching Dragon Ball with an ad in between.
With an ad in between.
I can just pay you guys money and the ads disappear. Like I'll give it a go, and it's 14-day free trial and that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
It's one of those type of things where it's like, all right,
if you use it enough, it's worth it.
And that's the piece. I think with all the subscribing and that kind of like Crave. I will use every once in a while, so I think it's one of those ones where it's like I could unsubscribe from it, and when I felt like it, subscribe back again, and watch whatever, and then unsubscribe. Yeah. Whereas Netflix, we watch it like I watch enough to like. I will keep you around.
Yeah.
But Crunchyroll might be the next one because they have Card Captors, which I used to like.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Dubbed and subbed, and the movies.
I like sub.
And they have Sailor Moon.
Oh, I remember Sailor Moon.
And they were the ones that actually bought back the rights and redubbed it.
Oh, okay.
So there's a redubbed Crunchyroll version. Apparently they didn't do that good. There's the sub version. Yeah. Dragon Ball Super's only in sub.
Yeah.
But then just piles of anime, and I'm like,
Conan.
I don't know what.
I think that's a little boy who's a detective.
There's all sorts. It really is one of those services that it anime.
Yeah.
Geared towards anime.
Awesome.
Get a guild going. No.
Japanese anime.
Ace Attorney.
Oh yeah.
The Ace Attorney stuff, they
have a
this
huge
library. Season. Never mind updated episodes. This is all new anime though.
Crunchyroll.
Fate. Yeah. There's a baseball one. There's cheerleaders. There's some Yu-Gi-Oh. 396 videos for Yu-Gi-Oh. And some of them are just but this is season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, nice. Do they have the original Dragon Ball?
Or they do not have the original Dragon Ball. That's the only thing that's
only Super on there.
That's the only thing that's missing, and I've looked for it, going like,
that's okay.
I want to watch little Goku doing his thing.
Yeah.
Back in the day when he was still training with Krillin and that kind of stuff.
And him groping Bulma all the time.
Yeah. Again,
it's the exact same humor. Thing. Yeah, it's the Japanese anime humor.
Yeah.
So.
Which again gets lost in a lot of translation.
Yeah. And then I caught up with a whole bunch of movies.
Good for you.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, finally saw. Solo, I finally saw. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I finally saw.
I still have not seen that one.
So,
how was Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
This one, I saw.
Yes.
And it's a movie.
With dinosaurs.
And
Chris Pratt.
Excellent.
Do the dinosaurs chase people? Kind of.
No.
Oh, well, that kind of sucks.
It's more of a save the dinosaurs, beat the humans kind of movie.
So Jurassic Park 2.
Yes. Yes.
That's why I laughed when they were like, we have to go back to the island and bring the dinosaurs back to the mainland.
Yes.
And I'm like, so Jurassic Park 2?
Yeah, so they more focused on the human element of human villains.
Yeah.
Not...
Which, to be fair, is not a bad way to do it, because the dinosaurs were not actually bad.
They're just animals.
Yeah, they're just naturing.
Which is good, like, I guess. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie, but it's an entertaining movie that I don't know if I would need to see again.
Right.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
I know I got the first Jurassic World cheap.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up watching it, because when they said, like, Jurassic World, and I'm like, really? Like... In what world do we think, oh, it really screwed up bad the first time? Let's do it again.
I'm really hoping, like, Jurassic World, or Jurassic Park, the original, is a thriller, not an action movie.
Correct.
I would say. And all of these are more action movies.
Yeah, they've turned them into...
Right? And I miss... And I know a lot more people like action movies versus thriller, and that makes more money. But that's the appeal of Jurassic World. It was about the animals. It was the thrilling... Sorry, Jurassic Park. I keep saying Jurassic
It's all good while they're the same movie.
And it's the dinosaurs versus the humans, but it's not because the dinosaurs are bad. It's just nature. And that was what appealed to me, was seeing humans not be at the top of the food chain and how they deal with that.
Well, that's even Jeff Goldblum's character in the original was like, should we be doing what we're doing?
Yeah.
Like,
and it was a thrilling movie.
Yeah. And again, you get your little action scenes here. You know, the T-Rex chasing the Jeep and that kind of stuff. And then
action thriller,
by 2 and 3, it just got silly.
Yeah, so...
I think I watched an Honest trailer the other day for 3.
Yeah.
And they're like, so this whole the whole movie, this dinosaur is like, like the camera shakes and you get all these, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know, they're doing something and then they turn around and the dinosaur has snuck up on them, like this giant thing has snuck up on them somehow. Like, come on.
Yeah. And I personally, this is like, again, my own opinion. I would love them to go in a direction where now the animals can start. The true dinosaur DNA is expressing, because they've explained the dinosaur DNA as they're naked because they've, you know, played with the DNA.
Yeah.
I want to see the, like, dinosaur modernized what dinosaurs are supposed to look like, with the feathered T-Rex, feathered raptors. See what those look like. I just want to see it, because
I do like the line that it's like no one wants to see that junk, so we made them scaly and like, you know, lizard like.
I just want to see it just because I want to see what dinosaurs would have looked like, because you have those pictures of what scientists render them as, and they're like cheaply digitally made.
Well, because they're not spending money.
I want to see like a real dinosaur.
But again, that was the amazing thing to the first Jurassic Park was. For the first time in movies, we got
to see a
dinosaur. What we thought at the time was like, holy
and it was just
smooth.
And it was just visually, it was just like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, dinosaurs again, right?
Right.
And that appeal is gone. So then now you need the
now
story.
Now they're like, we've played with his DNA to make. Now he can turn invisible, and it's like.
Yeah. And now you're just like, okay. Now
I'll go see the Predator movie if I want to watch something go invisible. Thank you.
Great, you saved your movie some money by making an invisible dinosaur, because you don't have to show
We just gotta move some trees.
Yeah. So.
Frank, get going. The dinosaur's coming. The dinosaur's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's I never thought of it that way, but yeah, you've saved so much money by just moving some trees around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the bonus to Jurassic. I still remember, like, and they still show that scene as an iconic scene, and they've touched it up over the time. So if you actually have the Jurassic Park Blu-rays, they've cleaned it up. But like, you know, they first see, you know, the tall necks and you know, all, even like the was it a pregnant or sick Triceratops?
Yeah,
like,
you're just like,
they lie on it, and it's like, you know, the breathing. You're going like, oh my god, that would have been the funnest thing. Yeah, they're touching that thing.
Like something so surreal that you would have never thought you could see.
That was the magic of the first Jurassic Park, was bringing those things to life. And now it's like, well, now we can create bigger, better dinosaurs, and it's like so they can eat you faster. Yeah, I know what's coming.
Magic's gone.
And they're like, oh well, but we'll train these raptors to listen to, you know, Star-Lord.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, that sort of makes sense, but still not what I want to see.
Yeah. So for me now, it's not Jurassic
yeah.
for me anymore. It's more just humans with a toy or a weapon.
Yeah.
Because dinosaurs have been weaponized now.
Yes,
or controlled by humans.
That is the story.
So it's just a new weapon, new technology now, and same story though. Will humans probably use this for good, or will they use it for bad?
Wilson Fisk wants to weaponize the Raptors, but Star-Lord's going to stop him.
Exactly. It is Wilson Fisk. Because that's where I've seen him move on.
Everybody's in the MCU now.
Yeah. Solo, we talked about
in the newscast, but yeah, like it's still a good movie.
Still a good movie.
He's the weakest link of the movie.
Yeah. Donald Glover is more Lando than this guy is.
Donald Glover's first line is off camera, and you just hear his voice. And I thought they actually got Billy D. Williams to do the line, just to kind of get you in the mood. But it was him.
It was him, and I was like, whoa.
That's how you find a young person to portray that role.
Yeah, that's how it.
Does he look exactly like Lando? No, but he exudes the exact same.
And I feel that.
Yes, it's the exact same. Like when Lando first meets, Han on Cloud City, going like, "You old scoundrel," da 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 da. That is exactly that feeling.
Hearing that, I was like, "Oh man, that's Lando."
Yeah, right. And then you get to him, and he's still got like. Donald Glover has that same like.
Yeah.
I am the. Look, I got my cape, and I got like my cape's important, man. Like
his closet of all these capes.
Look at all the capes.
While seeing, I can't remember the actor's name for. I was gonna say Harrison Ford, the actor for
Aldrich something or other. Yeah.
Like I didn't. There was maybe sometimes where he's standing, you saw the silhouette, and you're like, oh. Yeah. But then when he talks, and even his movements.
Yeah.
It wasn't Han Solo to me.
And again.
And
see Harrison Ford, and I'm thinking back, but even the way Han Solo runs versus the way Indiana Jones runs, like there is a difference.
Yeah.
But there's still like the physicality that Harrison Ford brought to a lot of his stuff that this guy just. And again, you're right. Like he has the stance.
Yeah.
But I know part of it was the first directors for Solo were trying to do a buddy cop movie with Lando and him, and and that's why they got booted. And then when they brought Ron Howard in, he brought in a guy who was like, "You're going to teach him how to act like Han Solo." No one had done it. They were just like, "You're going to be Han Solo, got it?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll do my best." Then they brought in this guy who's like, "We're going to teach you speech. We're going to teach you how to stand. We're going to teach you how to walk. We're going to teach you like."
Yeah.
But that was only X amount of the movie.
Yeah.
Where they got that. So when you do get the, wait, you're how old? Like that kind of, it's like, that's Han.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel it for a second.
Yeah.
So I think if Ron Howard would have been in charge of that movie from the get-go, we might have had a different feeling to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the Aldrich, I say kid,
I think
but
he
can pull it off.
He can pull it off.
There's scenes where I'm like
yeah,
you're Han Solo, and then something happens. But there was enough of them where I'm like, I am okay with this film. I enjoyed the rest of the film. You were okay. Yeah. The rest of the film was actually pretty good.
Story-wise, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the Game of Thrones lady. I thought her character was pretty. Like she did good. Yeah. Woody Harrelson is Woody Harrelson, so I mean he just plays himself in everything now, which is fine.
I had a spoiler given to me before, so I already knew that a certain character, was in it, and I was so.
People are still trying not to spoil that online. It is like the cutest spoiler that people are trying to not. Because even talking about how the Boba Fett movie got canceled, everybody's like, well, we need an Obi-Wan movie. And they're like, so, like, the spoiler from, Solo and the Obi-Wan movie, like, oh, man. Yeah, and everybody's like, yeah, but they already did that in Rebels, if you've seen Rebels, spoilers. But that's the shtick is, like, no one's saying his name.
No one is. But you get that feeling, oh, my God, he's not. Ooh. And,
Still not as good as the Darth Vader Rogue One story.
Oh,
thing,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my God, I was just in my seat, just like I am in just in Star Wars heaven right now.
But this spoiler character showing up, you're going like,
you're like, look, and then it makes you wonder, what are they gonna do with this?
Nothing anymore.
Nothing anymore. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Good movie.
I liked it.
Good
I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like Evangeline Lilly I'm glad they had her.
So a lot of people were angry because they didn't feel like she got a big enough role to be Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, really?
And I went, really? I thought she was
good.
Yes. and very much in the scheme of like why I love the scene in the van where it's like, well, you ran off to Washington, or to Germany, and you didn't even call, and he's like, would you have come with me?
Yeah,
and she's like, we'll never know now, will we? And it's like, atta girl.
Yeah.
And I know I think I talked about this with Tony, but even still, I know Evangeline Lilly was finally proud to just play a strong female character who wasn't in the middle of two men trying to fight over her.
Yeah.
Because Lost. That was
she
was pissed. If you actually listen to her interviews now, she
hated that.
And then not Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, she played the elf chick who was supposed to be like the love interest kind of to Legolas.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they threw the dwarf in as like the second love interest. So again, she was in the middle of two idiots fighting over her, and she's like, "What the heck? I signed up for this movie to be strong, independent elf woman."
And then in the Roxxam Boxxam movie, I call it the Roxxam Boxxam movie because I swear that's
the one with Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
She was again just a love interest, the woman. Yeah. Even though she was a boxer, they never showed her how tough she was.
And in this movie, she clearly handles most of the. She does the heavy lifting.
She does all the physical, like.
And even Ant-Man, like, he pops up and does something, and he's like, "Remember when you showed me how to do that?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I can only do that because you showed me.
I like that Michael Douglas had a bigger role in it. Oh, that's another movie I watched with Michael Douglas.
I'm not a huge and again, Michael Douglas, I've never been a huge fan of, but Ant-Man has changed me on that. Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that movie. I'm gonna keep thinking while I talk.
You keep thinking.
And then I didn't expect. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but like Michelle Pfeiffer. I like.
We knew she was gonna be in
okay. I didn't know that. I was like, that's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Because Michael Douglas wanted Catherine Zeta-Jones to play. His wife. As like wouldn't that be silly? Thankfully they went with Michelle Pfeiffer, who again is still the best Catwoman and could clearly still with the Marvel technology play the same character she did in the 80s.
She could. Yeah.
Like early 90s. But that's my thing. I'm looking at these movies going, when Michael Douglas first appeared in Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man, I'm like, he could do all of his he could do sequels to all of his old movies. Yeah. And I wouldn't be able to tell. Like, holy smokes.
Well, they even had that flashback in the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Well, yeah, and then in this one, there's that flashback that opens the flick again, and
young Michelle
Pfeiffer and young Michael Douglas, and it's like,
you could have the true Batman 3 from Tim Burton.
Tim Burton's Batman 3
with Michael Keaton. Just got them all back. You could do it. You could do it.
But they're getting to that point now with that company, and I swear they throw those scenes into every movie now, just to give them a budget to make their technology better and better and better. So one day, like when Chris Evans does finally decide to be like, I will not be Captain America anymore, I'm not doing any more cameos, they're like, that's fine. We'll just have Bob replace you as a body double, and we'll put your face right on top of him, and no one will know.
They just have to get the rights to his face in that movie still,
and don't you worry. That's somewhere in that contract already.
We have the rights to your face and facial expressions.
Yeah.
And possibly your voice.
Disney, I think, has probably been doing that now since...
Archiving.
Well, no. What was that movie where Enchanted, where that princess is animated at the very beginning and then comes to the real world?
Yes.
Whatever her name is... Amy, is that Amy Adams?
Amy Adams, yes.
She did not sign off on the rights to her person, which is why you do not see that character anywhere in Disney stuff.
Oh.
So she did not sign off on the rights to give her, like, her... So I bet
that's why she's never in...
Dollars to donuts, anybody that Disney signs now, in their clause goes, like, if we need to use the rights to, like, your face and your name and you're like, we have the rights. And
she is not in Wreck-It Ralph, then.
She will, that character will not be in Wreck-It Ralph. I don't know why. Okay, and this, I am a Disney fan. Mm-hmm. I don't know why you wouldn't sign off on something like that.
Why not?
Like, what are you afraid Disney's going to do with your likeness?
Yes.
Other than put you into all sorts...
They won't tarnish it. They wouldn't, like... Disney would not be...
Especially to a Disney princess.
Exactly.
And now the opposite to the Disney princesses is the heroes.
Yeah.
Like the Marvel heroes, because they don't play up enough of the female heroes, which they're starting to do now, which is good. But like if you go to the Disney parks, you're meeting mostly Thor and Captain America and Spider-Man, and and thankfully, like with Guardians of the Galaxy, they have Gamora coming out with the rest of the group. Nebula, I don't think shows up yet.
No, okay.
But at least Gamora's making her way into stuff.
Yeah.
you know, with Black Widow supposedly getting her own, like, you know, they found the direct, you know, they're working their way towards that one. It's like, good. Again, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it is legitimately Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Oh, he's remembered.
Oh, yes, I do remember this movie. But more like the ending.
Yeah.
Quantum Realm.
Don't get lost in a time vortex. I will be so happy if that was just like they threw that out as like a, because people mostly think Avengers 4 is going to have time travel involved.
Yeah.
And then when they threw that into Ant-Man, it was like, I hope it's just like Ant-Man's like, how do I get, like, he presses a button, like there's an escape button, and he pops back out like, where'd everybody go? No time travel whatsoever. They just threw that in as a red herring.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Because everybody's like, they wouldn't have pointed out time vortexes if he's not going to use them, right? Like, that was such a throwaway, not like throwaway line, but such like an expositional, like, BT dubs, while you're in there, there's a time vortex. Don't go in or we can't get you back out. Yeah. And it's like,
where are they going?
Why would you mention that?
I wonder if they just put in there in case they want to use that to introduce X-Men, Fantastic Four, to somehow say
Ant-Man goes back in time, steps on the wrong butterfly, and mutants.
Yeah, something happens where it says mutants are now a thing, and they have been for a while. They were just never mentioned because I don't know. I'm not a good story writer, but
in all honesty, it's I don't know how the mutants are going to come into play because obviously with them owning them now, they're going to come into play. But yeah, no, that was quite the ending.
It was
3, 2, 1.
To me, that wasn't perfectly balanced, though. Why would you destroy a whole family? Shouldn't you leave like half the family?
He wasn't in control of that part of it. He went half of everything.
Half of everything.
It wasn't like, oh, this family has 4 people. We'll get rid of 2
of them each.
The algorithm was off. It was just like half of all life. Poof.
Yeah.
The big question still remains: is that half of whoever's left that he already hasn't halved?
Yeah.
Because that was the big piece of it. Was like he let half the Asgardians go. We know that at the beginning of the movie of Avengers 3. So does that mean that there's only a quarter of those Asgardians left? Because like half of them now, or does the Soul Stone or the
does it incorporate
does
the algorithm?
Yeah, does the gauntlet go like, okay, he's already taken out half of the Asgardians. Yeah. We'll leave them alone.
Or does it just
or we're like half of them like, oh, thank God he let us.
Like here and now, half of here and now.
It's okay, they're all coming back anyways.
Sorry, I'm going back to another Netflix movie.
Yes.
Animal World, which
I think Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas is a cameo. He's he's almost like a guest star.
Just enough to put him in the trailer.
It is a Chinese movie.
Subtitles?
Subtitles.
Oh no. See, here's I can watch subtitles on an animated anime show.
Yeah.
No problem. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, anything like that.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think you can watch it dubbed, but I don't like live action dubbed.
Oh, and live action dubbed is horrible unless it's a Jackie Chan film.
Oh, yes. Because it has the comedic.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's like, I'll beat you. Like, don't do this. And you're like, nah.
That's how
and at some point, he actually tried to move. Like, they tried to find lines that were close enough to.
Yeah, they do try and mouth.
Yeah, so it looks like he's trying to mouth it, and you're like, oh, it's so bad. It's so good. But yeah, I watch Crouching Tiger, and it's like, there's too much going on for me to read. But yet I can watch Dragon Ball where they're.
Some, actually, okay, I should say most of this movie is in Chinese.
That's fine.
There's a little bit of English because and
there's
German
one part
and Russian because because it's pretty much the whole. They've gotten people from around the world to go into this tournament.
All right.
I think Tony would really like this movie.
Cool.
Because it's a tournament of rock paper scissors, but with cards.
Sweet.
And it's very I don't know, the way they play the cards is very Yu-Gi-Oh-esque. I don't know what it is.
Anything involving cards has to be I play my you've activated my trap card. It's a rock.
Yes. At one point, I swear a guy was because before you play your card, you have to say the word check, and he's like, check.
Yeah.
And then it's and then the guy flips it over for them.
It's the Iron Chef piece of things, right? It's a cooking competition, but there's a guy who's at the beginning, and it's just you have to be eccentric if you're doing one of these films.
This movie on Netflix, I think, had 4 or 5 stars, and I read the synopsis. It tells you rock, paper, scissors tournaments, but I was like, this still sounds intriguing for some reason, so I watched it. And it actually had a good.
Or maybe that movie I could watch without with the subtitle. That one would be all right. I think a lot of it is trying to watch what's going on and read at the same time. Is what always got me. Not that I read slowly. I can read quite quick, but
yeah, it's a lot. Like I've been watching subtitles since I was a kid, so I have that eye movement where I can go like this.
Your eyes are focused on both.
Yeah.
One eye's up, one eye's down.
Yeah. And you kind of I don't know how, but my brain fills in the blanks sometimes. You read half the sentence. Because you've been watching it enough and you've been doing it. Yeah. You read half the sentence, you see what's going on. And your brain just fills in
But I think as you watch more of it, you understand. Because even Dragon Ball, I'll stop watching. Mm-hmm. I'll not stop watching, but stop looking at the subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll just be listening, and you still kind of get oh, they're just bantering back and forth right now.
Exactly.
You know, and it's I don't exactly need to know. And maybe I won't catch the joke that I'd be like, but at least it's not I'm what's going on in this show now?
Yeah.
I can still kind of...
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I miss a lot of
follow along.
Stuff, yeah.
But... yeah.
It's in Mandarin because I understand Cantonese and I couldn't understand this movie. So, yeah. People are like,
because you don't speak. Your family doesn't speak.
We're Cantonese, yeah. Canton region. Yeah. My mom speaks a bit of Mandarin. Anyways.
Yeah, I know your parents can speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chinese because they do.
They do.
That's the first time because you don't really.
No, I
know 2 words, 3 words.
Yeah, worse than a kindergarten.
Yeah, hi, I'm Brian, sort of thing.
Yes, I think I can do that.
I'm fairly certain because I know the first time I started hanging out with Tony at university, I parked by where the bus stop was. So we were walking over there and he got a phone call. And he's like, "Oh, hold on a minute," and he broke into fluent Chinese.
Oh wow!
Because
I didn't know.
He does. He speaks, and so he's like on the phone, and I'm like. And I'm like, my only other Asian friend can't do that.
No,
That's
I
miracle.
cannot do that. My parents taught me really well how to say I don't understand in Mandarin.
That's a good thing to know, though.
So that people, if they started talking to me when we went to China, they'd be like, "Oh,
yeah."
But when I went to China, they knew I was not, from
there. La toilette is if you gotta pee, good thing to know. Also, je peux pas parler français. Good thing to be able to say in Paris, anglais, s'il vous plaît. Being able to say you don't speak a language in another language is a fairly important.
That's fairly important,
yeah. Because otherwise you look like a crazy person. Yeah. I only speak English. Yeah. And of course you get louder.
Yeah. You hope someone understands it if you're louder.
I don't speak Chinese. Can someone tell this guy?
Sorry, did I say the title of this movie?
No.
It's Animal World.
You might have. I'm not sure.
I don't think
I've read it, so I don't know.
Animal World.
And it's a rock, paper, scissors game.
Yes, there's no animals in this.
Well, that's what I thought when you said there was a tournament. I'm like, does everybody bring do people bring panda bears versus tigers? And it's I
think they call it Animal World because it's very people's instincts.
Now, if you lose at rock, paper, scissors, do you die? Sort of. There's a consequence.
There is a life-altering consequence.
All right, I'm cool with that. If it's not just oh, you've lost, you're done.
No, yeah, you don't just got to go home.
What a boring movie that would be.
No, yeah.
Although rock paper scissors game can get pretty intense.
It can.
Yeah,
it can.
I've seen them again at my university after I was there long enough. I was helping with the orientation, so new kids come in, and I say kids, and they are kids to me now because they do come in, and it's 17, 18-year-old, and they're like. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you're like, just you wait till the world smacks you in the face. But they come in and they're like, all right, we're gonna do some fun stuff, get to know each other, and we found when we had these people and we paid them a stupid amount of money, but they ended the day with a rock paper scissors tournament. So you have 200 people, and you have to go and rock paper scissors, and whoever wins the best out, or it's just one match, not even best out of 3. Person who lost has to now cheer for, now you introduce yourself. So it's hi, I'm Nick, you're Brian. So if you win, I now get to go follow you and go go Brian, go Brian, go Brian, go Brian. And if you win, you get the other, so you have to find another person with 2 people. And if you win, you suck in their 2 people. And now there's 3 people cheering for you. And subsequently, your team grows until all of a sudden, there's 99 people cheering for you. And 99 people cheering for the one other person, and you hoist the one guy up you get some guys, and you hoist them up on your shoulders. So now there's a bunch of people and 2 people above going.
It's intense.
Yeah, and of course one side's and by person 50, they're like, go person, I don't know your name. So like half the people are like, go Brian, go Brian. The other people are like, yeah.
They're just like, yelling for the sake of
and you're just like, I've never seen so many people get this excited over rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. It's funny, I read a little about something. If you play against a complete like person who does not care about rock, paper, scissors,
yes,
go paper.
Yeah, because everybody tends to go rock. Because you're already in the fist.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's everybody's first instinct is to go rock.
And then, you only go rock if you're very, very sure that someone's going to go scissors.
But that's the whole game. If it's like, he's going scissors, which means I got to go. Or if it's like, he's going paper, I'm going to go scissors. And that's where, the game gets really...
I've tested this out in, some sports games where you just go, where you just go to a casual sports game, you rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first? I just always do paper, and I usually win. Yeah. And unless I know a guy who does this a lot, and I'm like, I'm going to go scissors.
Do they know the strategy?
And I won.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting into this rock,
or
paper,
both of you both of you have that, and that's where that's how you know that there's a match, because both of you go rock, paper, scissors, and it's like, no.
This guy knows what he's doing.
Oh, no. Now what do I do? Because the whole algorithm's off.
Yeah, but I've won first ball a lot in sports.
Sure.
Going paper.
Yeah, paper, man. Paper, because it covers rock. Rock can, usually in life, the heavier thing can just hold paper down, but...
Yeah. Or get thrown through it.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. There's like a paper, nice, paper screen somewhere, and someone throws a rock. I'm pretty sure the rock's going to go through it. Yeah. Yeah. Animal World, though, the rock, paper, scissors movie that no one asked for, but possibly everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
Probably, and Michael Douglas is in it for a moment.
Makes a cameo appearance.
Anybody else in it, or not that we know? It's
not that I know.
Chinese film.
Yeah, I'm assuming there could possibly that some of the Chinese actors are big,
Yeah, but that's everywhere. I mean, we know.
We know Michael Douglas.
Yeah, we know American actors usually, Canadian actors obviously, UK a lot of times because they can cross over quite easily.
Yeah.
English speaking actors we know quite a few.
Yeah.
It's when it comes to, again, the large group of Asian actors Asian American actors, which, again, is why Crazy Rich Asians was such an important film.
Yeah. And, again, it's the whole, will Hollywood accept
Hollywood's just
Asian people as
Hollywood's
much as
just got to get into
African Americans?
Yeah. Hollywood's really just got to get into, let's hire the right person for this job. Yeah. Done. It's a very easy peasy type thing to do because we have had that discussion. I don't know if you were here, like the Buffy reboot.
Oh yes.
They are looking for an African American actress, and that's it. And I'm like, well, but why? Why not just open, especially Buffy?
Yeah.
Open it. Just we need girls between this age and this age.
Don't just target us.
Come in, because now I know exactly what you're trying to do.
Yeah. You're just trying to almost like win votes.
Right. So now if a person comes in and they are African American and they crush it, cool,
great. It's like Starfire in the new Robin Teen Titans movie, right? Now, did they choose that actress for her ethnicity or for her acting?
Or for acting or this or that.
Sure.
Right? Because if you even listen to Zendaya, who was in Spider-Man, I thought her character was not that she can't act; she did a very good job. But she talks about it, and she's like, I pretty much had that job walking in.
Yeah.
Because and she knew it. Like now she said she was nervous walking because going into roles usually, being, and I'm not sure if she's partially or complete. I don't know. But she's she said she's like I'm nervous going in because usually I don't get roles because they go to, the blonde white chick, or the redheaded white chick in that case.
In that case, if it's Mary Jane.
Sort of thing. And she's like, I was nervous going in, and they were pretty much like, don't be, you pretty much have this job already. And it's really? So whether they wanted, again, to cast her because she's Zendaya, she's already on Disney Channel, they know she can act.
Yeah.
Or whether it was like, we need diversity in our movie.
Yeah. But at least what they did for the Spider-Man movie, they didn't call her Mary Jane.
Nope, just MJ.
Yeah.
And
but her name's Michelle, though, right? Or something?
Yes. Her name was Michelle Toombs, essentially, because she was...
Oh, yeah. Technically, she's the daughter of the Vulture.
Yes. Spoilers? But everybody should know that by now. Sorry. Everybody should know that scene by now. That should be... Because yeah, she plays a bigger role in.
I actually forgot about
Far From Home. But yeah, no, she should be, if anything, she's MT.
Yeah.
Unless they make her middle name like Josephine or something, just to.
Yeah. Why did they call her MJ?
Because she just said her friends call her MJ.
Oh, just cause.
Off the cuff, and everybody's like,
why?
Because they wanted to make her MJ. And again, I'm okay with the changing of a lot of stuff, but it's like, could you give me a better reason than that? That was my one where I'm like, because that's everybody's like, if her last name is Toombs.
Yeah. They also did change Toombs a lot. Toombs was a really rich guy.
Well, he was, and he was an old dude who was trying to suck the life out of people. Yeah, no, this one made the changes they make are okay. It's just as long as they're making them for the reason of like we had an open casting call for people, and these people came in and they did an awesome job and they got the role. Because again, the character of Michelle was really well done. But yeah, when they're like, it's a casting call and we need this specific thing, and again, it shouldn't be like we need white female just females between age this and this, and I get the age piece because
you can't have. Yeah.
Now again, you should also have, you shouldn't have 30-year-old actresses playing grandmothers.
No.
Because that, again, pisses me off.
Yeah.
And we're getting out of that one because a lot of actresses who were younger, like our Jane Fondas and that kind of stuff, because they're Jane Fonda, they are getting those roles meant for older, that should go to older people. Yeah. And it's
they're not doing the makeup where they just make someone look older and
Yeah. So we're getting there. But yeah, it's the I would like more movies with more diverse casting and that kind of stuff, but not for the sake of diverse casting.
Not just to get that like, hey guys, love us because we're diverse.
Now of course, Crazy Rich Asians needs Asian casting.
Yes,
Aladdin needs East Indian, people in their film because that's where it takes place.
The genie is magical.
Yeah. But yeah, if your movie takes place in a certain area, again I understand. Yeah. If you're having a movie based in the Middle East, you should probably have Middle Eastern actors.
Have Middle East, It's
almost like they have their own, movie studios there. Crazy how that works. And again, Crazy Rich Asians, you're doing an entire movie based around Asians. You kind of need Asians. Mm-hmm. Those kind of castings I get. But if you're just looking for... Movie. Did she?
Yeah. Anyway. She talks about it every day.
But like Tony loved it. I think Tony and Anthony went.
Oh, okay.
Like I think
it's a good movie if you're not Asian. Like non-Asian people will like this movie.
Correct. And Tony's talked about it on the show before, but he's like, we talked about it as like, we're Asian, we should probably support this film. And he walked out of there going, there was an eerie sense of like, oh my God, this is my life. Like there's that piece of it.
Yeah.
And again, out of a lot of cultures, Asian cultures are very. You guys have stuck to. A rigid kind of.
There's traditions and there's you should do things this way and then there's that clash of culture where I was born here in the Western world and I am learning to adapt to I'm learning to maintain my traditions and my family culture, but
because your parents very much would like that. But yes, you grew up in a predominantly white school.
I'm a banana.
Or a Twinkie is used. So, as so often you have said over the years, but really, because again, for those we went to school from grade 5 on.
Yeah.
You were mostly with white people.
Yes. There was. Who was the other Asian guy?
There was a Vietnamese. We had someone who was Vietnamese.
Oh, yeah, Tan. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of our class, but predominantly. We had a white class.
It was a French school.
And a French school on top of that.
Not too many Asians go to French school.
The Chinese guy coming to the French school to learn
not
how
too
to
many
speak
Chinese
French.
people go to French school.
Oh no, but that's just the piece of it is, and again, being in Canada, we do try to mix a lot of cultures together when it comes down to things.
Yes.
So that is the big piece of it is trying to hold on to those identities. And some of us, like my family, one side has been here since the 1700s.
That's awesome.
We're done. There's no when I speak about the French side of my family, there's no Viva la Paris. We left there a long time ago. Yeah. In all honesty, the Italian side is because it's I'm 3rd generation Canadian on that side. Okay. So that's a little bit more ingrained.
Yeah.
My great grandparents were from Italy.
Yeah.
So passing that down, my mother was raised partially by like my great grandparents, so there was that Italian piece of more than the French side of things.
Yeah.
Of Italians are a little feistier, especially in the kitchen and this kind of stuff and and you argue, but you're not really arguing. It's this it's this love thing where it's like I'm yelling at you because I love you, sort of. But it's that like that piece is kind of held on. But yeah, mostly it's like I'm Canadian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for you, at least, it's I was born in Canada and Canadian. But yeah, your parents are very
CBCs. I think they have that.
Yeah.
Chinese-born Canadian or Canadian-born No.
Canadian-born
Canadian-born Chinese.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever the CBC stands for.
But yeah. But I mean, I know like Tony's parents, like Tony was actually born across the water. And then was brought here and raised here from young age. But I mean, it is a big, there are a lot of cultural differences still. And which again, makes sense. That's like me going to Africa and being like, y'all still do what I do over there? in Ghana. Why is there no one playing hockey?
Yeah.
Where's your hockey team play?
You heard about the one African hockey team, though.
Is it like the Jamaican bobsled team?
Yeah, and then they had a bunch of big NHL stars go over there as a charity thing to help them.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. We've been, the NHL's been going all over the place now trying to except the Olympics. Aggravated as I am.
Yeah.
Speaking of hockey, the Oilers are playing pretty good right now.
Yes.
Played two of the best other players in the NHL.
Yep.
As much as we love to tout McDavid, Crosby's still the best player.
Yeah, Crosby is just wow.
So Pittsburgh was in town. So again,
that was a great game.
We used to have a banner that said Oilers, so we can actually talk about sports. It was a great game. We lost, and again, Crosby pretty much made all of our guys fall over and then scored, and it was like you deserve that win.
Yeah.
But again, we played Crosby, and the Oilers held their own, and Ovechkin was here, and we beat his team 4-1. So that was my thing. I'm like, because everybody's like, well, we have Connor McDavid, and I'm like, that's nice. We also have a team of
Yeah.
Like, we're paying Leon Draisaitl a lot of money.
His line needs to get better.
Pittsburgh, he was pretty good, because I even said my wife was watching part of the game with me before she left, because hockey. And I'm like, this Leon Draisaitl guy, we're paying him way more money than he deserves. He's not doing anything, and all of a sudden he goes and scores, and I'm like, keep that up.
Keep that up. You better keep that up.
Earn that paycheck.
Yeah, earn that paycheck.
Because if I lose Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but we're paying you too much, I am going to be livid.
I love the Nuge. I really hope we don't lose him ever.
Well, he's got 1 year left in his contract, so chances are we don't have any money left.
I love that kid, though.
I know.
He's got a good heart. And good...
He does, and that's my problem. I think that's my biggest problem with sports.
Yeah.
Is the amount of money some of these guys make.
Yeah.
I'm cool if you make the extra money doing the Reebok commercials and the Gatorade commercials and all of that jazz.
Like way back when we were kids, that's how they made.
That's how they made the extra cash.
Extra money.
And I mean, Michael Jordan, you can talk about how he got fined every game for wearing his Nike Airs.
Yeah.
Well, Nike was like, that's fine. Like, we'll pay you. Yeah. Like, we'll pay your fine for you because you're wearing your Nike shoes.
Your Nike,
It's cool. But that's a lot of how they made their extra cash. Yeah. When Wayne Gretzky got traded, that was the beginning of we're gonna start paying people exorbitant amounts of money. And again, as an NHL player, by the time they're 40, if they're still playing, they're rare.
Yeah, that's
so
rare.
I get that they
need the money to.
I get that there is let's compensate you because again, you won't be playing past the age of 35.
Yeah.
You know, but some of these guys, it's like, can we not just again? If anybody out there, an NHL team wants to hire me, I will be more than happy to join your team. I can't really skate, and I don't really know how to play hockey. But if anybody wants to pay me $500,000 to come to camp,
pay me, you
know what? In fact,
pay me $250 and I'll take it. $250,000 a year, I'll take it.
$250,000 a year, I'll
even $100.
Sure,
I'll
you know what?
100.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I just sit there laughing because one of my friends knew a guy who ended up, I think, on the team for the Dallas Stars, but he never played. He was that guy who got hired by the team, and he went to practice because he practiced, but he was always on the bench. He was that benched guy.
Yeah.
So he pretty much went to Dallas, played on his Xbox, went to practice, and got paid $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Because that's the entry-level contracts. Like, that is how much you get paid.
That's how much you get,
And it's like, So all we can hope is that Nuge wants to stick around because he likes the team and he likes us and he's close to home and that kind of stuff. Like that is.
I really hope. Hopefully, he doesn't go to Calgary.
Because he performed really, really well.
I think he
against Washington. Yeah. He's a skilled player.
He's a good kid too,
and he's a good positive.
As far from what I see on the media wise, he seems like a good kid who does a lot for the community.
Our team is back to that now. Yes. Yeah, we got rid of our toxic player.
Yeah.
Which again, Chris and I have talked about before, where it's like Taylor Hall got traded, and I know the city went like rabid.
And I was like,
get
rid of him.
Yeah, I know.
He's an ass.
Yeah.
Excuse language.
Yeah. That's even talking to someone at work, one of our newer coworkers, and he was like, I'm so glad when we got rid of Taylor Hall. Because again, you know, Connor McDavid he's a positive guy. He's really good at, he knows he got thrust into that, like, you are now an NHL superstar.
Yeah.
Act like, and it took him some time to figure all that stuff out. And I'm pretty sure Sidney Crosby had a lot to, you know, you can't tell me that Sidney Crosby didn't call him going like, listen, I saw your interview tonight, and, you know, remember, this is how we have to speak.
Yeah.
You know, you are not just, you know, the Nugent Hopkins of your team. Like, you can't go and give an interview where it'll, you know, we did this and did that. Yeah, and you can't go out there and be like, our team sucked and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. You have to be now not just the face of the Oilers, but the face of the NHL.
Yeah.
Congrats and welcome to the club.
Yeah. Responsibility.
Yeah. Sorry you didn't get to play any other kind of hockey other than, like, college before this.
Yeah.
Like, you are now first-round draft pick
a
playing
face
hockey.
of the NHL that needs to show respect.
Yeah. And the unfortunate part is we didn't get to see them play in the Olympics. Bringing all that back to stupid NHL not letting them play.
Because of the money, right? Or
there was
potentially
money, and they were worried about them getting hurt and this and that and everything. And it's like,
Olympics, they have rules where it's a pretty safe hockey.
It's pretty safe.
They don't hit as much as in NHL.
No, but you don't want to lose Sidney Crosby to the Olympics and all of a sudden. But I'm like, shouldn't that be up to the team?
Or at least the individual.
And if the individual wants it, but the unfortunate part is the individual's like, well, if I go over and get hurt, who's going to replace me, sort of thing. But if the Pittsburgh Penguins are like, yeah, Crosby, go. Like, we'd rather you go and play and, you know.
Play some fun hockey, maybe even.
Well, but that's the thing. And the benefit to all of that happening was that the women's hockey actually got more viewers and got a lot of press because it was actually the better hockey.
It was. Which is unfortunate.
For hockey.
For the hockey.
Because, again, if you're trying to, as the NHL branch out, we played in Germany and Switzerland this year. Like, the Oilers went to play in Germany and Switzerland.
Yeah.
Because it's like, let's get people in Europe watching the NHL.
Yeah.
Well, if you let them play in the Olympics, the whole world gets to see, like, this is the skill that is coming out of all these different countries.
Yeah.
And the only teams who are going to the Olympics for hockey are where all the NHL players come from already.
Yeah.
Germany, Switzerland, like
Russia.
God, you know, the U.S., Canada. Like, it's not like Mexico's like, we've got a hockey team. It's not a sport down there. No. Again, I'm not going to Mexico asking where their sports teams are.
It's not really a sport anywhere south of the equator.
It's not really a sport anywhere actually south of Edmonton or south of Canada.
South of Canada, yeah.
Some of those states and cities that are close, like the Detroits and the Bostons, and that, like those guys, Minnesota, you know, honorary Canadian states, sort of, like those guys, they like hockey.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to an Avs game for almost no money and have a section to yourself.
Yes, you can.
Which is unbelievable because if you live in a city like Edmonton, we pack a house and we have our team.
Our tickets are just.
And our team doesn't win.
This
year we're doing okay. Like I'm happy with our team this year. But usually we watch. Usually we watch the games and it's like, oh, we're losing again now. Right? But I'll still pay $300 to sit, you know, way up.
Yeah. We pay lots of money for hockey.
We do. We like our hockey in the city. We even have
our beer.
Well, it's just them people pay.
Cheap beer.
But we went to one game, and we had paid, I think, $88 a ticket, and we were sitting almost at the top. And we looked down, and you can sit in uncomfortable bar stool chairs around a table, and you get 4 seats.
Oh.
And we looked at those, and we're like, oh, maybe that's, like, an affordable way to go to a game.
More expensive?
$500 a seat. And you have to buy all 4.
Because it's special.
But and you get table service.
Yeah.
And you have to buy all 4 seats.
Oh, you have to buy all 4. So you're spending at least $2,000.
To go to one
game.
It was nuts. Because I looked it up as I'm sitting there going like, oh, we get a little closer, and maybe we're not as comfortable.
You can't buy 4 seats and invite 8 people and just switch to
No.
people.
Now there's a room where you can invite 50 people. I don't even want to.
Well, I don't know how expensive that is.
And you said higher. Like from where we were sitting, there's higher up, but it's its own private lounge sort of thing.
More for parties and.
It's a big if your business is having a soiree of 100 people, you can be like, yeah, we'll drop. I don't even want to know how much money, but hockey in this city is big. But it's funny to watch like Florida, you know the Panthers or the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like they don't have crowds. Colorado surprises me that they don't have crowds.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that.
Phoenix doesn't. I remember my dad went down to.
Yeah,
my dad went down to Arizona once.
Edmontonians go down to Phoenix and watch games.
Well, and that's the piece is like that's how Las Vegas is doing so well is it's cheap to get to Vegas, go watch a hockey game, and they've thankfully built up their own crowd because it's their first real professional sports team.
Oh yeah.
I know some people on the hockey subreddit. You know, when Vegas started last year, it was like we went to our first NHL game. Like, I figured I want to support professional sports in Vegas.
Yeah.
So we went, and he's like, I'm in love with this game of hockey. Like, I've never watched it before.
Yeah.
It was his first hockey game, and it was an NHL game with, and NHL's players. Like, it's not like Vegas started with, a bunch of Pee-wee guys. And they had, they stole NHL players from all over the NHL as drafts work.
I wonder how the addition of the Las Vegas team has influenced betting in Las Vegas. Like, do people still bet to win money, or will they have a bit of a soft spot for their home team and bet to lose?
Well, if it helps, their home team did really well last
year.
Yeah, they
did. So. Surprisingly well. No, they did what we were hoping the Oilers would do, and the Oilers did what.
We're rebuilding. We're rebuilding. Yeah. We've been rebuilding for the last 20 years.
I thought we were rebuilt last season.
No, we've been rebuilding since the 80s.
Yeah.
Or the early 90s.
Early 90s.
Well, it's like right now, Detroit is just bombing.
Yeah.
And everybody, it's like, and everybody's going, you can't go into 25 years of playoff runs and then expect it to just keep rolling. Eventually, there's going to be a downward turn.
Yeah, because your guys.
Welcome to the rest of us. Yeah. Think about how Toronto feels. I still have tried to explain hockey to Tony. He's very new to hockey.
Still.
And I remember the Toronto Maple Leafs were doing okay, and he's like, "Well, can't we cheer?" And no, we do not. No. The only people who cheer for Toronto are people from Toronto. And it's like they're allowed, and we can make fun of them for it, but they're still allowed. Like we can't poke at them too hard.
Have them read that. What's that classic Canadian book about the jerseys from Sears or something?
Yeah. Oh,
where he gets the Toronto one.
Jersey,
the Toronto one instead of
because he had his Rocket Richard Montreal Canadiens jersey. I love that book. And he prays to God that this Toronto Maple Leaf jersey gets eaten up and destroyed by moths. Like
he's just
what a day that
so
kid
disappointed.
Has.
Everyone was wearing else.
I still have that book because his mother writes to Mr. Eaton's.
Yes. Oh, Eaton's. You're right. Not Sears. Eaton's.
Same difference back in the day.
Yes.
Again, back in the day, our malls were Eaton's on one floor, Sears on the other, or Eaton's on one side, and Eaton's, the Bay, and Sears.
Yeah.
And then I think the Bay ate Eaton's.
Yes, it did.
And then Sears now just died because they're idiots.
Oh yeah, and Kmart disappeared a long time ago.
They got bought out by Zellers.
Oh, and then
closed.
Target could not survive here in Canada.
They did a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
It's funny watching businesses and just even hearing about businesses. The reason Toys R Us in the States closed is because there's these big businesses that buy up Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, if we charge a fortune for things and do this and this and this, we'll make a lot of money right now, and then the business will close and whatever.
Yeah.
So they go for that really fast profit instead of the profit over time.
So that you can retire sooner.
Well, the CEOs at that point can. But then that whole business that, and again, you look at something like the Bay, which is the oldest business in Canada. It is. It's the business.
It existed before.
It existed before we were Canada.
Man, if the Bay ever shuts down, that's going to be history.
Well, it's owned by the states now, but
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
It's owned by an American
company. I didn't know
It's owned by a parent American company.
But I thought that was the Canadian business.
Well, yeah, it still is. But at least they don't brand themselves that way because, again, Tim Hortons is owned by an American company, and they're like, we're all Canadian. And I'm like, I'm starting to lose it on you guys.
Yeah. Lululemon's not even. Are they still like Canadian?
No one's Canadian anymore. But yeah, that is the. But I still found it funny that Sears closed down, and Sears was. You used to order from the catalog.
Yeah. They were the original
online shopping.
Online shopping.
And then they never had online shopping.
Yeah.
Or if they did,
but it was really
well.
Bad.
It's almost like they had the perfect model
for it. They had the model. They did not execute. It's like those movies that have the great idea.
Yeah, and just can't pull
and they do a terrible job at it.
But yes, we still have the Bay. The Hudson Bay Company, HBC as it were, and they really try to dive into nostalgia now, which I do think is cool.
Yeah.
Like they have the blankets,
those
that have
blankets,
the bands, the HBC bands, no, HBC does what they can to stay as Canadian as possible, but it's funny watching all of these big stores just plummet. And a lot of it is like, I have people that are like, oh, it's online shopping is the cause of all of it, and I'm like, well, no. If Sears made it easy for me to shop, I would shop there.
Yeah. Especially for clothing.
We used to have one at the mall close to my place. We'd go, and I'd go at Christmas, and they'd have all of their clothes discounted, and that's when I would buy them. Because I'm not paying $60 for, a dress shirt that I know is not worth $60. No. So I would go at Christmas, and they put them in little bundles with a sweater for $20, and I went, see?
Excellent.
Maybe if you would have sold them at $30 to start with.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had to discount them down.
Yeah. And that's the thing. $40. Online sales are cheaper.
A lot of times. And again, it's not even. It's convenient.
And convenient, yeah.
Because I can go on Amazon and look something up, and I go, oh, it's a decent price, and it'll come right to my door done.
Yeah. Exactly.
And some companies are starting to understand it, but Sears I always thought was funny because it was a catalog store before it was a store.
Management problems maybe.
And again, no, it's the same thing. They wanted quick profit instead of, so they made
sustainable profits.
And their appliances they started making cheaper to make more money faster.
Oh yeah, I remember we used to always order appliances from Sears.
Kenmore.
Yeah.
See, the brands are there. And here's the funny thing is those brands are actually made for other companies without the name on them and sold cheaper. So the fridge we got at IKEA, the nice Swedish people store, and it's a Kenmore or a Maytag without the Maytag tag.
Without the Maytag tag.
And it was way cheaper. Because we went to Sears and opened the fridge up and went, okay. Then we went to IKEA and we're like, let's just look at fridges and open one up. And I'm like,
this is the same fridge.
It's the same one. Either way, as a weird off-topic
Canadian talk. We totally went off
Animal World.
I don't even know how we got there.
Anyways. Michael Douglas, Chinese movie, Chinese Canadians, and then
Canadians. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Either way, from the north. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, press those like buttons, whatever they happen to be, and if you want to, you can hold on. I think it works on this one. Yeah, press subscribe to our channel so that you guys can watch us whenever we do go live or do stuff. So. Anything like that. You can find us on Discord, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and all those links you can find at barrelrollnews.com. I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
Thanks for watching.